BionD&D. No, not yet. The theme song will come, but that'll be probably another month or two, I would guess. Thank you. So, it's been a while since we streamed. We've got a pretty new setup here, so enjoy. Hopefully, if you have any feedback, you can pop it in the chat. Comments, concerns, vitriolic insults, whatever you like. Just put them in chat. We'll respond in kind.
Damn it, I got signed.
Only the most vitriolic from you, Rob. So, last time on BionD&D, we lost a companion. We saw not the end, but the parting of one Garrick the Witcher. As the heroes approached the city of Aequileia, deciding what to do with the treasure they had found within a cave in the countryside, approaching there too, they were discussing their path forward and the urgency that they felt to collect these weapons and defeat the King of Dane and this great evil Hronglathor that is impending upon the world. But, as fate would have it, when they arrived, the city was in something of an uproar. They came into the gates to see a crier of sorts upon a literal soapbox, speaking to folks in the streets about his lord, and about how his lord would save them and restore their free will to them and help them to rise up above what he called the Lavenders, those who are rich and live in fancy manners in the higher parts of the city. After investigating this figure a little bit and talking to folks around, they discovered that his intentions were not necessarily the best. And indeed, it unfurled that he had a plot concocted to summon the spirit of the Deadwood Forest just outside of the city, this corrupted Leshen, to attack the richer parts of the city. However, our heroes were able to venture to the forest, find the Leshen, uncover how to heal its corruption, steal back the Heartwood from the wicked Mordecai, and restore the Heartwood to the Leshen, ending its corruption and restoring the forest to, well, not a perfect state, but the state it was before Mordecai's meddling. Afterwards, Garrick met up with an old friend from his Witcher school, and that friend told him of a rumor. A man who had appeared in the Scaran Mountains near the Bear School Witcher's hole, and seeming to have quite a bit of knowledge of the Witcher's craft and yet no memory of his own life or even his own name, was somewhat taken under their wing for a time. Hearing about this, Garrick and... what's his name? I don't even remember the guy's name.
Sounds like a good name. Remember the name.
Right?
Mordecai?
Start with a V.
Valerian.
Valerian, thank you. Oh, right, yeah, I just ripped off Game of Thrones and took the I out of the dragon's name. Yeah.
I noticed that.
It wasn't even deliberate. I noticed it after writing it down. I was like, huh, all right, cool.
I mean,
so
to be fair, he ripped off most of the stuff too. So.
Right, yeah, so it's just artists stealing from one another or something, I don't know. So Valerian and Garrick decided that there was a pretty good chance that this was their master, the leader of their Witcher school, who was lost after the raid in which they lost their home. So they decided to set out on their own and try and find out if there was any truth to these rumors. So Garrick left the party. The rest of the party is still in Aequileia, where we find ourselves now. So, Keepers of Fate. You find yourselves in the city. It is just about dusk, I believe we left off. And you have pretty much free run of the city if there's anything you would like to do. So, what would you like to do?
It's dusk now.
It's been a heck of a day. I think I would like to go to sleep.
Yes, a rest would be nice.
This is like right after we killed the Mordecai dude.
and
Yes.
and say the lesson and raced around. You
Yeah,
were
yeah.
flying.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Carrying
there was
people.
this like
I'm tired as fuck.
Yeah.
there was this big like rush of morphed and corrupted beasts charging at the city wall, and we're just like, oh no! Like literally flew over the walls to get to the lesson in time and stopped the whole attack. It was really awesome.
So a nap would be in order then.
Cool. Had it in a stable.
Usually he's good with an inn.
Stable's fine. It's roomy. It's cheap.
Indeed.
I don't need fine things.
Do we see one as we walk along the road?
A stable or an inn?
An inn.
Either? Both?
There was definitely an inn. There was the inn where we smashed that guy's face in.
There
Yeah.
was the inn where you smashed that guy's face in. There was also the roadhouse that Valerian mentioned about 3 miles outside the city.
The battered battlement.
Wait, aren't we in Aequileia now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But the battered battlement is just outside.
Yeah, it's about 3 miles outside the border of the city. It was
Yeah,
was a watchtower.
that's a walk.
Yeah, why would we want to go there?
We're
I'm
tired.
giving you the option.
We're tired of shit.
Just letting you know.
We don't want to go to the place that
Maybe like
the
a
guy's
40-minute
face
walk.
got bashed in, though, because wasn't it kind of seedy?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't want to go
Why
there.
does that mean you don't want to go there?
Because we want a nice inn.
Okay, fine.
You know where the lavenders hang out.
Like, what are you, Garrett?
I didn't really stop at the inns, but we
I
can
just
go
don't want to
talk
get
to the
murdered.
again.
Or shanked in the middle of the night.
Says the person who murders and shakes people.
She's the one that shanks.
Projecting.
If it's a place that she would shake somebody, then I
You're a
can't go there
shaker.
either.
Yeah, I walked in and I was like, I'd shake somebody here, and that's why we're not going
That's what she
there.
said, yep.
Can I investigate for a better inn?
Sure. Go ahead and roll an investigation check.
20.
Natural?
No.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Did you want it really great in?
And it's free! We got a free upgrade.
Someone goes, well, I love rock gnomes. You can stay here.
But just you.
I said peace. Later, guys.
No, what you do find, so you go kind of to an intermediary kind of sector of the city. It's kind of laid out in tiers. Where you enter is kind of where the masses live. There's a little bit of like an industrial district past that. Sorry, what?
It's right before the industrial district.
It's actually, yeah, it's kind of between the two.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of like a break before you get to kind of the shops and the factories and
Okay, cool.
such. And there's this kind of slightly nicer area that kind of wraps backward around the industry, and you can kind of like walk around the streets on either side, and you find your way to a pretty nice inn that is called the Daring Dragon.
I was hoping for the prancing pony, but
I didn't roll high enough.
That has to be the last inn of the game, man. Like, that's gotta be like, then you get to, I don't know where Hronglothor is gonna be. So let's say Hronglothor's cave. And like, on the inside of the cave, like just to your left, there's this inn called the Prancing Pony. What's it doing in the cave? It's existing. It's best, damn it.
You know why these places are called things like Dancing Dragon and Prancing Pony? Is because a lot of folks can't read or write, and so you just have a picture that's clearly a dancing dragon or a prancing pony or something.
And it's always gonna be
that
alliteration.
sign.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a dancing dragon on the sign?
The alliteration helps to advertise.
Exactly.
Because we all know, alliteration, always.
Okay, so let's walk in the end. We walk.
That leaving you hanging for like 5 seconds before that?
Only like 2 seconds,
Okay,
maybe.
I'm
I wasn't awkward yet.
All right, so to the end, there is a.
This is gonna be a high adventure long rest.
There's a dragon in the inn.
That's why that's where it gets its name.
It's
does
like a literal name for an inn.
Do we have to pay when we
And the
get to an
inn
inn,
is
or do we have to
around.
pay in the morning?
So typically you pay for the room for the night ahead of time.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for a room until you want the room. So
Okay.
if you just want to like chill in the lobby for a while, it's until closing time. That's fine.
Right.
Until
Are
the
you
bouncer
gonna pull
comes
like a
in.
Grand Theft Auto and beat him up for your money back when
Yeah,
you're
right.
leaving?
I was gonna sleep in Dash if we didn't have to pay until the next day, but apparently we have to pay before. So.
There is a.
We don't have our like credit card on file, so.
I mean, we don't have to pay. This is out of character.
My lawful good cleric would not say.
We don't have to pay.
I respect other small businesses. I'll pay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stay outside, I think. Enjoy your feathered beds, I guess, or whatever bipeds sleep on.
Is there a stable here?
There is a stable around back, yeah.
Okay, so he's not just like in the road.
That's up to him.
I'll be in the gutter with the rest of the shit.
You may want to go to the river that would wash out. You do have a little bit of blood and gore on you.
Yeah, probably.
Especially on like that one hoof, just kind of where you cave that.
Oh,
Hey, there's brain there.
Cook it up.
Maybe we should order a leg of roasted lamb in memory of Karen.
The
Roasted centaur.
the half-orc barkeep kind of greets you as the group of you comes in. He's kind of looks up. His skin is it's greenish, but it's actually more of like a deep gray kind of color. And he looks up with this like shock of white hair, and he goes, "Oh, greetings. Long time since I've seen new faces."
Sorry, we're very tired.
Ah,
We just bought off the
Malachi?
Mordecai.
Some angry deer and some badgers.
You didn't know that the town was being attacked? You seem awful calm.
well, it was on the other side of town. Doesn't bother me none.
Fair enough.
They were right out there.
We'd like a few rooms for the night.
Of course, yeah.
I'll take that coin.
Right outside the door. Like right out. I didn't hear any.
There might be.
That's a bit more worrisome.
Out of character.
Mhm.
Was there actually?
Not that close, but
Okay.
But I press the digitation, so there's some like hooves tapping around.
Well,
But they're fine now. It's okay. They're gone.
okay.
They're not under his spell anymore.
Whose spell?
Mordecai?
Preacher fellow.
Yeah.
So you do get out.
No, yeah.
He was controlling them.
News to me. How?
He cut out the Leshen's heart.
Leshen.
The forest guardian.
There's a guardian in the forest.
There is in most forests.
Fascinating. And so this Mordecai is he's okay now. He doesn't want to destroy things
He's
anymore. Or?
He won't be a problem anymore.
Oh, good. Well,
He learned his lesson.
oh, hi Christine. Yes, alliteration always. I'm glad somebody agrees with me. Won't be a problem anymore. Well, good. Then, well, hell, I have your rooms for copper, I guess. Things are safe. I don't care.
I'll take an ale if you got one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he kind of just pulls like a ready-made mug out from the
Pub in Dublin or something, where's this bartender just like sitting in here, there's a war going on outside, ransacking the city, boarding up windows.
Go down to the Winchester out on
Okay, now that, yes, end of the world, very good reference.
It was the wrong accent entirely, but whatever.
I got it, you're good.
Do you have anything harder hitting than an ale?
What do you fancy?
Whiskey if you have it.
Something glowy.
Glowy.
For the glowy man.
I can make it glow for you.
Okay. I don't want
I'd
it.
very
I thought
much
the
like to see that.
Glowy man wanted it.
Kind of, he gets up and kind of goes over to a small shelf and kind of rummages back and pulls out what looks like a very dusty bottle, uncorks it, and pours out and comes and smacks it over the door for you. It's definitely so good. It's definitely whiskey.
Okay.
It's got a
That's good to know.
It's got a bit of like a burnt rubber nose to it, with a little bit of like oak and peat underneath of it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
How much?
You look like you could need it. First one's on me.
Thank you. I've used prestidigitation on it, and sure. There
That's
you go.
impressive. Magic folk. Don't get many of them around here.
Isn't this a major city?
Yes, we mostly deal with machinery.
Ah,
Not too much magic to be done. Just
Are you in here?
simple, honest work.
I do like machines.
Okay.
Then you might find a place here. Lots of use for talent like that.
Well, I'm going to bed.
Very good.
Night all.
Let me know if there's
It's-
anything I can do for you
It's
during
still
the night.
only like dusk, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rooms, like I said, are just a copper apiece for the evening. And breakfast is at sunup. So, stay a while, eat your fill.
I'm gonna have a stroll through the streets for
Okay.
maybe a half hour or so before I come back to outside the inn, park in the grass to sleep.
Sure.
I have probably, I don't know, 4 more whiskeys before I go to bed over the next hour.
Alright, each one after the first one that he gives you for free is a silver.
Okay.
And go ahead and make a con save for me. Let's get turn.
8.
8. Alright, you're pretty drunk. You're tired, you've expended a lot of energy, and you didn't really eat much, and you just, it hits you like a truck, but you're like, this is what I want. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you're quite tipsy. A few of the other patrons are kind of like, damn, nice.
So I toss in 5 silvers instead because I don't want to do the math on copper.
Okay.
That's actually some pretty accurate roleplay. A lot of folks.
I got too much gold. Here.
Yeah.
I'm inebriated and there's math. Just take this.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. As
Do you, when you come back around to the inn, do you like look inside or anything? Because I'm up for the next hour.
Sure. I'll
And
make
I'm
sure.
really drunk.
Hey,
Actually,
I'm gonna stop in. It smells kind of like burnt oil or something. You okay?
you want some?
This is good. Watch, try to make it glow. Whoosh. Oh yeah, glowing.
Does it blow up?
It gets brighter every
This is
time.
glowing.
Okay. Wow. Bottoms up, eh?
Turn off that light.
So I try it.
It's pretty tasty.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's, I mean, you drink scotch. It's like an island.
Yeah. Also, Cranmor does drink alcohol.
Yes.
But it's not like, whoa, what's this?
Yeah.
It's like a party in my mouth and everyone's invited.
That would not be your first taste of alcohol.
This is good at first, but then it kind of hurts.
Nice.
I like drinks that hurt me.
This is really good. Thanks for sharing. I'm gonna wish everyone a good night though, and I put good night, man. You're sober. As I look,
Whoa. What happened?
Your friend just patted you on the back and walked out.
Son of a bitch.
How do you, wait.
He does this thing. I don't even think he knows what he's
More
doing.
magic.
Some of
I
the
got
times.
it. That's
Killing my buzz. Such a buzz killer.
There's a waste of 5
Ocean
seconds.
Cranmor is the lawful good one. Drunkenness and debauchery.
I'm actually neutral good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
Have you always been?
Nope.
Yeah, no, I have always been neutral good.
Well,
It's in my paper.
I mean, it's descriptive anyway, so you're definitely going more for neutral good.
Yeah.
Cranmor, as you're walking around though, before you come back to the inn, you're kind of just, you're taking a stroll. There's a few folks still out and about. Mostly, it looks like shopkeepers coming back from their day's work. You notice as you're walking along, there's kind of a building that comes up on your right that looks like just unfinished. Like there was construction that was going on clearly. There's like timbers and beams and like the structure of what would have been a building, and then like maybe a third of it is planked with lath and like started to get plastered up, but nothing is it's just not anywhere close to finished. That's mostly the only thing that really catches your eye as you are walking about, but it does certainly bear some interest.
I will note that for the morning. I assume that no one's there, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's going to be nighttime, yeah.
There's like one person that walks past you while you're like near it, but
Yeah.
they're on their way.
Huh.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to do before bed?
I'm out.
All right,
I pass out.
cool. All right, sleep takes you. During the night, nothing happens. The next morning, around sunup, and you smell this delicious aroma of bacon from downstairs.
Burning wood.
You wake up and the doorknob is hot.
I meander downstairs.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay. Why?
Didn't you just have or I guess I wasn't down there when you were drinking
Yeah.
You look rough, man.
What, did you keep drinking even after Cranmor left?
I did not.
Yeah, so he'd be fine.
Yeah. I literally.
It's just
He cured my hangover. Shit.
Can't have a hangover if you don't go to bed drunk?
Yeah. I don't know.
Why can't you pad me right after I fall asleep?
I want to get that nice, just like, ooh, everything's so spinning. Oof. Not actually a good way to fall asleep. All right, so yeah, Cranmor, you can also, since you were gonna sleep near the inn, you can smell the bacon as it's cooking, and there's a lovely undertone of like the wood fire on which it's being cooked. So you get that aroma, and you kind of hear footsteps coming down the stairs intermittently. Eventually, 4 sets of them are yours. And you get downstairs to the kind of dining area, and he just has like plates lined up outward. Most of it is just like 6 pieces of bacon on a plate, and then like there's usually like a side of bread and cheese with it. But the bacon is very clearly like the mainstay here, and it's not just like any old bacon. This is like it's the glaze. It's glazed really nicely, and it's made with this like just really like thick kind of fruity aroma. And you take a plate and you take a little nibble of the bacon. This can be any of you, I don't know. And it's delicious. It has like this sweet thing at first over the. It's not maple syrup. It's fruitier than maple syrup.
Oh.
But it's like denatured like fructose on top of the glaze. It's really tasty. I like doing my food porn. You remember this. This is not uncommon. Half of my stays at inns are just food porn. It's just the excuse.
Sorry, do you have any eggs?
Yeah, it'll take a little bit longer to make up, but certainly.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Goes in. A few minutes later, he comes back.
While he's gone, I give my bacon to somebody else.
He comes back a few minutes later with a plate of scrambled eggs that he hands to you. They're not quite as fancy as the bacon, but they'll serve.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. They do have a bit of like cheese like grated over them and salt and pepper. They're good. Not like amazing, but they're good scrambled eggs. Typical breakfast fare. So, breakfast done. What would you all like to do with your day?
Oh, we don't have to pay for it?
That's part of the room.
Didn't
Oh.
once ask about maple syrup. It was very
I wasn't in there.
I want to go check out any library.
Yes, so I'll just put it, maybe we can all go around saying the things that we're interested in. I'm also interested in library, public works like that unfinished building, and finding any kind of surgeon, I guess is the word I'd be looking for here.
I would go to a library, and perhaps I should accompany you to the surgeon.
So that you can tell them what you've done.
Yes.
Saved my life, and I thank you for it. We did the best we could under the circumstances.
You should get a tattoo to cover the scar. That'd be pretty cool.
Christine, I hope you're listening.
I'm probably, Cranmor, I think I'm overdue for a few tattoos now. We've had a lot of adventuring.
Guys, tell us more stories.
Yeah, they think they didn't even get. I didn't get
Yeah, it's been about 3 weeks since we met.
It's been 2 months at this point.
Okay, my bad.
2 whole months in a year and a half of game time.
I'm really disappointed that we've never gotten our group tattoo.
That's not on me.
Yeah, it's not. We've talked about it.
Let's find a tattoo artist.
All right, let's do that.
Oh yeah, were we gonna get like a helm or something like
I
that?
thought we were gonna get
That's number one.
Let's
So,
go. Let's
you
all
go.
go.
You got the best investigation. Find us a tattoo.
Yeah, I
parlor.
want to find the best tattoo parlor, and
Because I know what I
figure out what the hell is happening.
First thing after breakfast, while we're all completely sober, is to at dawn's morning light. It's tattoo time.
20, but not natural.
Okay. You figure, you know who's really good at giving tattoos? Old, grizzled sea captains.
Oh, that guy again. Is he the one that told Garrick to shave his eyebrows?
No.
I don't trust anyone.
Yes, but no. Like, same area, different guy.
Oh, cool.
So you're like, let's head over to the docks. If there's going to be somebody who used to be at sea, they're going to be at the docks. They're going to stay by water. So you venture out of town a little ways,
Also, I don't
go
think
over
that was
to
an
the...
It wasn't, but I'm thinking about that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
There's only one old sea captain. He just goes from place to place.
So how do you travel so much with that big
Yeah, I knew you'd be needing a tattoo. And that guy needed eyebrows tattooed.
He's got this great black beard, and his name is Bluebeard. So you head over to the piers, and you're kind of looking about, and you see this one ship where, like, the captain has like 5 or 6 tattoos on him, but then like his whole crew is just like covered in them, and you're like, that's probably the place to go.
Are they good tattoos?
Yes, they are impeccable. They're amazing. Much like Dennis and Brian's taste, but not quite like Rob's, which is slightly peccable. You missed this because you weren't on the Discord. Dennis and Brian ordered the same food,
Exactly.
so Dennis was like, Brian has impeccable taste.
Oh.
And I said, you both do. And Rob was like, I see how it is. And so I told him that it's okay. His taste is only slightly impeccable.
I thought that he was making a comment on all of your tattoos, and I was like, I didn't think Dennis had tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
Inside joke.
You have a tattoo on
But I
your
just
side?
explained now, so that made it a lot better, right? Good.
Yes.
That's not, I don't think that's how comedy works.
Shit! I was gonna say something really mean, but I'm not. Okay. So, you go up to this captain, and he looks at you like, need to go somewhere.
We're actually interested in getting tattoos if you offer your services.
You've come to the right place. What can I do you for?
Maybe something like this. I kind of draw like a captain's
Make a performance check.
and shit.
You draw the Kubernetes. There's one.
Can I help him?
I just point to
Ooh,
the wheel.
nice!
I just point to the wheel on the ship that steers.
I got
Like that?
22 performance.
So Norwyn, like that wheel on the ship there.
Oh, yeah. That is what I drew.
Well, so if I recall right, you also had your hands on
Right.
parts of
There
the
was also the.
Yes.
because you're guiding the wheel.
Wait, are all our hands on it?
Yes.
Okay, so each of our little, like, it's a Rosnome hand and a moose hoof.
Yeah.
And a...
He has human No, he's gonna use those.
He's like, look at me, I can try this bow with my hook. At least it's the hook.
Who needs opposable thumbs, bitch?
Yo, Jasnah, you gonna put a boot on there?
Maybe I am, Cranmor.
Yes, your hands are upon the various parts of the wheel. You look pensive. Did you have a
Perhaps we should add different symbolic representations of ourselves to each portion.
Yes, I guess you've done many tattoos. Do you know how people like to do things like that in a way
Maybe
that
like
doesn't
an
look
infinity
tacky?
symbol, or like something that explodes into feathers or butterflies or
Sanskrit.
the wheel?
something with a lot of
Incorrect
text.
Sanskrit!
Yeah,
I like dicks.
in celestial.
Oh man, but I can read celestial.
I like dicks. It says peace and love.
Were you trying to get him to say the keeper of fate?
Wait,
It
I can read
actually
any
says
written
I like
language, so
What?
I can read any written language.
That's
so.
true.
He'll be able to tell.
Or this is just like, yeah, that's what it says.
You get it? I'm like, nah, I don't want that.
Amazing.
We'll make you go first.
So, in my experience, simpler is better. You don't want to get too busy with extra symbols and such because it'll just make the whole design look kind of cluttered. See here, and he kind of pulls his shirt to one side and shows part of his chest that has, it's kind of a classic like skull tattoo. It has like a little bit of flair to it in that like you can kind of see a cracked wound in the top of the skull. And he's like, this here, one of the most symbolic tattoos I've ever given myself. Not much to really busy the eye with. Simpler is better. It's a very pretty tattoo. It's peerlessly drawn.
Okay. Maybe we.
I don't know.
Let's go with the. I thought we were gonna put words around it. Maybe we go with the plain wheel
Yeah.
and then we put a words around the
Yeah.
round part that say the keepers of fate. It's really on the nose.
How big is this wheel gonna be?
So
big as you want
in our
it.
tribe, we
Depends where you
do.
want it.
My
So
whole
in
back.
our tribe, we do these things, and there's never words, and it's just pictures, and the picture is. So usually it's representative of adventure you've had. So I appreciate that we're going for the wheel as a symbol of our group, and that's cool. I'm also thinking about things like a tree,
For the dragon tree.
for the dragon tree, or
Or because you like trees?
I do like trees.
I mean, the wheel is made out of a tree, so.
That's true.
What if it's a
Well,
wheel?
it's not made out of
What-
dragon tree.
What about a wheel?
It's a dragon wheel.
The base
Yeah,
of the wheel is
a
a tree.
No, I'm thinking of multiple tattoos, but right now we should start off with the wheel. Just the
Okay,
wheel.
just the wheel,
With
nothing
a
on it.
hand.
With a hand?
Yes.
Yes.
One.
One hand. It represents our hand.
Mhm.
Then if more people join.
Yes.
So is it a hand and then the wheel's in the middle of the hand? Is that what
Yep.
we're doing? Okay, cool.
How many
Let's do it.
fingers?
Oh, a hand and the wheel is in the middle of the hand.
On
I
the
like
palm.
that.
Oh wait, are we all getting it on the palm?
Actually.
No, I mean the wheel in the palm.
Or we
The
can
wheel
all
inside
just
the
get it
palm.
on our palm.
Yeah.
Or we can just get it on our palms.
That works too.
I use my hands.
You use your palms? We all do.
Maybe you can get it on your hoof.
I like that idea.
I'm okay with this. I think we're okay.
Okay.
Christine, let us know if it keeps happening.
So we're all gonna get it on our palms. Is that okay? Everyone in agreement?
Clipping.
Yeah.
I get it on my palm.
Well, she's saying it's like blowing out.
Oh, yeah.
That's,
Oh, the audio?
yeah.
It could just be the microphone's so small and their loud noise is just like beating it.
Yeah.
Beating it. Beating it.
I shouldn't say that too much. What are we beating?
We're beating this tattoo.
Tattoo? That's one tattoo? With a tattoo, and the dragon will come and he hears the drum in a minute. Today.
That's what it should say.
Anybody else? Does anybody else know that warm up?
No.
Okay, you totally like did it, even though you didn't know. It starts with "We'll beat a tattoo at 20 till 2." So it's like that. Well, it doesn't start with that, but it's like the start of that verse. So it was just really good, unintentional like sentence. That was great. Anyhow, for all you theater geeks out there.
So we would like a wheel in the center of our palms.
Like your palm.
Yes.
Yes. I'll also take a dragon on
Can
my
we put
shoulder.
the wheel on the other side of the hand?
Oh,
Like
is
that would
worse?
disappear
Yeah.
quicker
Yeah.
and
That's
Okay.
true. That's
hurt
very
more.
It
true.
will fade and wrinkle.
Yes.
Sorry,
And
it'll fade and wrinkle if you put it on the palm. That's true.
yeah,
yeah, and we will be hurt when we hold things for a while.
yeah. I don't want to.
Oh, you just said you use it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand.
Well, you put it on your left hand.
That hand too. That's my.
We all know where that was going.
That was why it was so good. Well, the ball won't be too much. You're looking at, say, 20 gold a piece for the palm. Your dragon, depending on how ornate you want, it might be a little bit more.
Sounds
What
perfectly
about
reasonable.
And do you want colored inks, or do you want it black and white? Well, black and gold.
let's do black and gold is fine actually. And well, black and red if possible. And
Gold, by the way, isn't just looking at the color of your skin.
oh yeah, I see.
But he could certainly do black and red.
Can I get maybe a dragon's head in inside of an amulet?
You can. I can do that. You could also, just ideas here, you could have the dragon kind of looking like it's coming out of your arm, like eating the top part of your arm, like its maw is open. You could have just the top half, like a pauldron, coming down from your shoulder. The amulet would be mostly on the upper bicep and somewhat, I wouldn't say plain, but it wouldn't be as extreme. Just depends what you're after.
Maybe just a dragon's head,
Very good.
and then actually facing towards me, the mouth facing towards my neck.
Interesting. There's a story behind that, I can sense it. That one, 2 colors, somewhat of a larger area. Call it 80 gold.
Okay. What about just black?
Drop it to 60.
Okay, we'll do that.
Very good.
Without the amulet, I don't care as much about the color. Because it's easier to.
If the amulet is what you want, I'm happy to do it for you.
No, I like the head eating me better, actually.
Very well. So, we're doing this now.
So I have a few. I will need a tree, a ship, and a compass in addition to the wheel.
Tree, ship, and compass.
Yes.
Anything specific about the tree, ship, or compass?
Yes.
Okay.
I will draw out the tree will have will look normal except one of the leaves will be enlarged a bit, and I'll draw the shape of the.
Costs more if you design it. No.
I'm designing it. The compass will point northwest, and the ship is gonna. I'll draw that too to look like the ship that
Won't
the
that
Gailing storm.
change depending on what direction you're pointing?
That will, but I'm going from when it first started. It's got to point somewhere, and if it points north, that's kind of basic. So.
And you're not basic.
Yeah.
Anything but. I mean, look at it.
The point of the compass isn't that we have a compass; it's that we traveled. This is all over the place.
Yeah.
So so in my tribe, the tattoos mean certain things. It's a marker of an adventure or catastrophe or some adversity. So the ship is certainly a markation of a lot of things that have happened. Definitely the tree. actually, instead of the forget the compass because the ship probably covers that. So yes, the ship, the tree, and the wheel. That's
Very
enough
well.
for now until we have our next major adversity.
I'll cut you a deal on the ship's wheel. Since you're getting it all as a group, and I can tell it seems you've been through quite a lot together, I'll drop it to 15 gold each.
Cool.
For yours, 3 tattoos. Where did you want them? How large?
The tree doesn't have to be that large, and probably upper arm, and the ship on the forearm below it.
And the compass?
You know what? No compass. Actually, the ship will be up on the shoulder.
Oh, you don't want the compass.
Yeah, we'll nix that for now.
Very well. So a tree on the upper shoulder and the...
On the upper left arm, and a ship on the left shoulder.
In your travels, have you ever seen anyone enchant their tattoos?
So, would you enchant the ink that does the tattoo?
I don't know.
So we have our shaman that uses them as a focus.
Do they move?
The tattoo, well, only because her body moves
I can make it
when
move.
she uses it.
Oh, is it okay if I make one of your tattoos move?
That's quite interesting.
You're welcome to try. I've never seen such a thing. What do you cast?
I make it prestidigitation.
I don't know if that would...
It gives the illusion.
Yeah, it would give the illusion of what
Yeah.
I'm moving, for sure.
So it make it look like his
It's
skull
almost like
is
a-
talking.
It's almost like, what are they called?
There would be more minor illusions.
Is it like lithographs or
probably,
something?
but-
It's small enough that I'll let it pass. It's fine. It's like a demi-minor illusion. It's kind of like, I don't know what they're called. I think they're lithographs or something. But lithographs, I think are
Oh, the things that
they have like,
where you look at
they're
it at a
kind of
different angle.
animated. Yeah.
Magic eye!
Yes, sure. Let's go with that. I don't know. But it basically like it looks like part of the thing is moving, not like the entire thing is animated, but it's like let's say he has a tattoo of a crashing wave. You can kind of make it look like the sea foam is spraying in like waves. So that looks really cool. It's like, that is impressive. Very cool. For yours, I think it'll run you for the extra 2 tattoos. They're relatively small, not overly complicated.
And just black ink.
100 gold for the pair.
Alright.
Oh, but what I was really interested in is whether someone could.
Yes. So your question about enchanted tattoos. I can't say I've seen any myself, but I heard rumors one time of a sea witch. A woman who sailed the seas and went to uncharted lands. There were rumors that she had tattoos that would glow in the moonlight and would shift and change and granted her a strange power. I don't know if there's any truth to them, but I've heard.
Interesting.
Man, that is a good beer.
Does it taste like Tarantino?
It does.
It does. It even has a bit of a mouthfeel that it's like you're, it's pretty good.
It's like a little bit of a not abrasive, but like
Right.
soggy lady finger. Like
Yes. Yeah. It's funny, but it's true.
Soggy lady finger.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you not dipped a lady finger into like a champagne or a drink?
Coffee or champagne.
No.
It's
Do you know what the pastry is? The lady finger.
Like
Have you had tiramisu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know it sounds like soggy lady finger.
Yeah,
I broke her.
What do you do in your spare time, you two? Tasting soggy fingers?
No, I don't feel like pausing the stream.
I really am quite okay. I'm interested in the idea of enchanting a tattoo because it would be quite interesting if we could take something, say an enchanted compass, and turn it into a tattoo. But
Theoretically speaking, I see what you're saying. Because if you had an enchanted tattoo, then you basically have a magical boon that couldn't be taken from you. It's not a physical object. It can't be removed from your body. It can't be, you can't do anything with it.
Somebody could cut it off of you.
It could, but if you're in that case, magic is probably not going to be that much of a help to you anyway.
Oh. Yeah, probably right.
I mean, if you're getting limbs cut off, you're probably in very dire straits.
Yeah. Or in an inn.
What inns you frequent, but I'd like to stay away from them.
It's down the street. I think the body's still downstairs.
Yeah, I know, and you guys wanted to stay there, honestly.
Wait,
The host was.
wait, did you
very
actually cut his limb off?
No!
We didn't.
I don't think anybody cut anybody's limbs off.
Hey, let's be cool,
We buried
guys.
somebody, but
Guys,
Yeah.
be cool. Be cool.
Well,
It was
he
more bludgeoning
smashed the head.
than cutting.
Oh man.
you know what?
The innkeep is super accommodating, and we're not talking
These
about
tattoos just went down 5 gold each.
this. That I'm gonna.
No, we'll pay you the full percent. Don't worry.
I've already got mine.
Yeah, it's done. This was. Yeah.
So I'm gonna park it and be patient while tattoos happen.
Yeah.
This is gonna take a
This
while.
is gonna, it's gonna take pretty much the whole day, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tattoos.
But it only occupies one person at a time.
I didn't do that.
I know.
Okay.
You have to get one or you can't be part of the team.
I got one right here.
That's fake tattoo.
Look, touch it.
Dispel magic. Hey, we're gonna take the whole day anyways.
A dragon attacks the people.
Does he have tattoos?
Yes.
Metal.
And none of them are magical. Except that he's a dragon, so all of them are magical.
Do they move?
There's no dragon, so no, they don't. Alright, so you spend the day getting tattoos and you spend your gold. You go ahead and. Alright, yeah, in general, like, he's good at his craft, so they're all quite nice tattoos. All of the Keepers of Fate tattoos are like very uniform. He gets the first one out and kind of like does a very good, like very careful job, and then kind of not quite stencils, but uses as a guide the first one on all of them. So they turn out very nice. Each of your individual ones are also quite impressive. The dragon is like shockingly lifelike. He rolled really high on that one. The ship is also quite nice, and you can even read like the gold-lettered gale beater on the hull of it. And it's very nice, even in like very tiny little lettering. It's very precise. Nice. If you want that, I didn't actually.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I didn't know if you wanted it to be a specific ship or a generic ship.
It's a very fine thing to mimic the gale beater.
Well, I've made a tidy sum today. Thank you all for your business.
Thank you for your craft.
Thank you.
Well, let me know if you ever need to go anywhere up or down river. I'm always here every couple of weeks, so won't be too long for you to miss me.
Say, are there any surgeons around here that get tattoos?
The ship has a surgeon, but I wouldn't. Did you say get or give?
Get. I'm looking for a surgeon that can give me a bit of a hand with something. I've been injured a bit.
Well, depending on the nature of the injury, he might be able to help you.
I'll need him.
Kran!
Did you say crayon?
Kron.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Cran.
Cran!
Hey, Mom! Hurry, we go!
So, a man kind of comes up from below decks of the ship that's kind of near on the pier where the captain has been sitting, and kind of steps off. Hi, Captain. What's up? And the captain looks back at him and says, "Fellow here says he's been injured. Wants you to take a look at him."
I show him the chest.
Kron kind of comes over to you and looks at it and goes, "Jesus, what happened to you?"
I got attacked by a slag.
Why did he say Jesus? That doesn't make any sense. Jesus here. No, he didn't say Jesus, he said cheeses.
I got impregnated by an amphibian.
I had to cut it out of him.
Saved my life.
All of this is horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do a very good job cutting.
No, he didn't.
Not bad at rocking
I
under
didn't
pressure.
really have a scalpel. I just had a.
You're not trained, it's fine. He's alive, so well done.
That was the first step.
Fixing it.
Know you of anyone with the art and skill to do anything for this?
Probably not me. The city's bound to have someone. When we've come back to shore with injured folk, I typically take them to what's his name? Farsi.
Farsi.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Farcy. He's a doctor, say he's in a bit of a queer place. If you go up to the gate, the eastern gate toward the Lavenders district, his ward is just on the outside of it, kind of tucked away. If you look to the left, when you get to the gate and you look down, you'll see a little bit of a hatch of sorts. Doesn't look like anything, but if you go through that, it actually opens up into like a big hallway. And you'll find several doors. He's the fourth door on your left.
Has he been injured in some way? Is he in need of anything that he'd be in such a circumstance while also helping countless folk coming off ship?
As far as I know, he's there by choice.
All right. Thank you very much, Farsi.
His name's Farsi.
Sorry. Kron. I was looking at the wrong bit.
Oh, good.
Remember, it's Crane.
Yeah, it's the first half of your name.
Isn't Farsi a
Language.
It's a language if you
Spell it differently.
F-A-R-S-I, I think.
It's like Marcy with an F.
Yeah. Honestly, where I got it was I was thinking about book characters, and I got Mr. Darcy, which is a terrible book character name to come to mind, and I just switched the first letter.
So we've got tattoos and an evening to kill. What do you all want to do?
You had library on your list, you had the building, public works projects.
I want to check out some of the. Well, maybe not today, but at some point I want to check out some of the machines they have here. Factories, I'm not quite sure.
Hmm?
Yeah.
I go to the library to look. I'm going to go to the library to look for information on enchantments.
Let's talk about the library.
No, let's talk about the library.
Okay.
Sure. Let's all go to the library. Let's all go to the library.
When we get there,
catchy
we
song.
sing really loud in front of everyone reading the book.
And find ourselves in that.
All right, so you rather
Roll a persuasion check.
easily,
She doesn't need to.
you relatively easily find your way to the library. It's not, the city has maps around of the city itself.
It's really convenient.
Yeah, most settlements have like their own layout posted in various places throughout the city, just to help travelers. The bigger the settlement, the more likely it is to see such a thing. They are pretty much the only common kind of map in this world. But they're pretty commonplace. So you're able to kind of navigate your way to the library pretty easily. And it's a pretty big structure. As this is a big city, it's a couple of stories high and dominates most of like the kind of city corner that it's on.
Cool.
It's pretty sizable.
Well,
We go inside.
Yeah?
We knock on the door. Then we open it.
Yeah, you don't really need to knock. In fact, one of the librarians who's walking by with like a handful of books kind of like looks and goes, we're open. As you kind of open it and like peer in, she's like, yeah, you're good. She looks a little confused, but shrugs it off.
I also look at him confused.
Let's all go to the library. Let's all go to the library. Let's all go to the library.
And then find ourselves a stack.
Yes.
Whatever tech stack you want to use.
Grinder, Tinder.
I'd like to ask the librarian about local history and lore, and where I can find that.
Let's split up and look for information on enchantments and meet back here.
Yeah, there's a
Sounds like a
section
plan.
on it. You'll have to, well, easiest to just follow me.
I'll follow you.
Okay. She kind of leads you,
Where did that voice come from?
it's infectious. Okay? I'll follow you. My voices are infectious, it's okay. So she leads you down a few kind of like winding rows of books, and eventually you come to a little reading area with like 4 or 5 shelves kind of set up around it. And she says, "This is where you'll find most of the stuff that you're looking for. Is there anything in particular?"
Stories, legends, and anything that would be anthropological, historical of the area.
I see.
Things that are relevant to where this place comes from.
Absolutely. So she'll put a couple of things on the table before you, kind of pulling out a couple of volumes that she thinks you'll find interesting. A couple of them are about the Deadwood, because that's kind of the local legend, the biggest nearby thing that is of interest. There's a few things about kind of just the general city's history and the people that live there. There's a couple of books, quite recent by the look of them, that are city logs of like projects, of city projects.
With like census, is there any census data?
There's a bit of census data actually. It's not quite so rigorous as censuses. I don't like censuses, but I think that's right. Yeah, it would be something like that, but I don't think we pluralize it that way, unfortunately.
Censuses is probably right.
Yeah, which is terrible, but whatever. So they're not super rigorous, but there are a few censuses. And I think
Is this the census section?
as she puts the last book down on the table, she kind of leans in close and says, "A friend of yours, the glowy one, is he a man in the cloth, perchance?"
Yes, I understand what that means. Yes, he is.
Good. Thank you. And she'll lead you to your reading.
So
Is she gonna hit on Norwyn?
Find out.
I rolled a 13 to find another librarian after he went off with that one.
Okay, yeah.
Get your own librarian.
You definitely find one. There's several milling about.
I want to follow Norwyn.
Okay, cool.
So there's several million about?
Milling.
Several milling.
There
are so many librarians. This is one of my nightmares.
They're all gonna get fired because libraries are dying.
Oh no!
It's a nightmare.
No wait, not in this world.
Suggests
Not in this world.
Sensei. As the plural of sensei.
That's what I was thinking too. Sensei. Sensei.
So you get your own library.
Yes. Find your own librarian.
I say.
Wait, what would they do if he actually did say that?
They would have no idea what that word meant, and they'd be like, "Hello."
So I asked them about information on enchantments.
Okay.
And I'd also like to ask, any information they have on soul stones? If she's heard of this.
Well, I don't know who she is, because you find a male dwarvish librarian.
Oh, that's why I said them.
Gender assumed.
There is only female
Did you
librarians.
just assume their gender?
I've never met a male librarian.
I have, actually, in my small town.
Kate's stepbrother is a librarian.
I have one.
Boom.
I have once.
It's fine.
No, it's not. We all need to be
So-
very considerate of
You find the
the
dwarf
time
is actually kind of
traveler's wife.
slight of build, which you get that he's probably a bit more bookish than a normal dwarf would be because of his build. And so he kind of like puts his spectacles down and goes, "Oh, hi. Good to see faces here. What can I get for you? What are you looking for? Would you like to learn?"
So I'm looking for information on enchantments, and she's looking for soulstone information.
Soulstone.
Any sort of magic that has to do with infusing items with magic. Do you know if you have anything like that?
Sort of like an enchantment.
General items? There's plenty on that.
Sure, I could start with the section on general items and then see if maybe I can find something more specific there.
Then we're probably looking for the same place for each of you. Please, follow me. And he leads you a few sections down and actually up a flight of stairs to the second floor. Kind of, this floor is a little bit more dimly lit. It's kind of like, seems like people kind of spend a while here, and so the lighting is like enough that you can sleep by as well as read by. And it kind of like takes you down this like long hall with this just huge pair of wooden shelves running the whole way, and like they go the entire height of the room. Is that Holly or is that a person making that
No,
sound?
that's Holly.
Okay.
How tall is the?
I was wondering,
Where is she?
It's about 12 feet.
Okay.
So there are these two like big 12 foot bookshelves, and this 3.5 foot dwarf kind of leads you down several shelving units before kind of stopping, turning, and kind of waving a hand, and you can see a book kind of pop off the shelf and float down to him, and he says, "This would be a good general tome on how to enchant objects and just general enchant, like the way they work."
How to enchant? Actually, that's sounds
well,
like exactly what I want.
Same thing then.
What language is it in?
Common.
Common.
Anything else?
Do you have anything on celestial magic?
Celestial magic. We might. Stay here. I'll check for
Okay,
you.
thanks.
No need for you to walk if there's nothing there.
Random bit of interest, but do you have anything on sea witches that glow?
Glowing sea witches.
Are we talking novels or informational texts?
Informational texts.
I would have to check.
We have a couple that came up on the census. If you follow me to the census.
You laugh, but it'd be funny if my reading actually turned up something.
Yeah. They had 2 sea witches here 84 years ago.
Sea witch.
Would that be one you had to write in, or was it a like a bubble that was already in there?
Kate says about half the staff at Lee Road are male, and also is academic a language.
Is what?
Academic a language.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Oh yes, we'd like to start reading this Enchanted Items
yeah,
book.
absolutely. So, we'll go back to, okay, if she's gonna do that, we need to get her out. Just be, yeah. Alright, in a sec.
Talking about the dog, right?
No, he's like, no, me.
Trying to get her to not have other business.
Trying to get her to not stab other people.
Or if you're gonna do that, you need to get her out. Please don't.
Not in the library.
I make a big fuss. I'm convinced he's not a real librarian because he's a dude. Everyone knows librarians are female.
Turns out Jasnah's like the biggest misandrist ever.
Oof, everybody has to have character flaws.
Is that yours now?
No, because I travel with a company of only dudes.
Fair.
None of them are librarians, though, you'll note.
Well, that I talk to spirits that no one else can see.
I think your flaws are that you're kind of actually evil.
Yeah.
It turned into that. It started out as talking to spirits that nobody else could see, and then it turned into that. But like, I don't actually know if I'm good or evil anymore.
All right.
What's our book say?
All
What's
has
our book
been
say?
taken care of.
Jesus, why?
What's our...
What? Like, Mom just
Noise.
taken care of?
That was what I was going for, but I put it downstairs. But that was what I was going for, yes.
What's our book say? What's our book say?
So I want to do Genesis first because he looked at his books first. So, Dennis, roll me an investigation check.
Oh boy. Jasnah! Oh boy. 5.
5? Okay. I mean, you have books in front of you. It's not like you're going to like not find anything out.
Okay.
So when you get from the censuses,
The census is section.
the census sections is
The census section says.
Since I got a 9.
The census
the
section
census
says.
section says that the city is largely half orc and human. You find it's about 35% each. Orcish, dwarvish, and half dwarf make up the other the next 25. Tiefling and dragonborn are almost all of the 5% that remain. Pretty much nothing else. Elves, almost unheard of.
So, like, most people around here haven't seen me. Something like me.
You're an elf.
More teeth.
Oh, wait, no,
No.
He's not even on.
Asmar were also
Asmar.
not mentioned.
Okay.
Either we're moose tours or
I forgot
rock
Asmar was like a
gnomes or
thing.
halflings. Tieflings, though.
Yep. So they might have like seen other races just like passing through. It is a bigger city,
Yeah.
but not many live here.
Yeah, how close we are to the river?
On it, right?
Are we on it?
So there's a distributary that kind of hits this, but the Great Darren River is maybe like 20 miles north of you.
Kind of forget how it's laid out on the map.
Yeah. I keep promising to print you guys that one, and then I don't, because I'm the worst. You get that there are approximately 13,000 people in the city. Currently.
You don't get that.
Like living in the city, so not counting any travelers or anything like that.
I mean, that's still cool.
Yeah.
From
Yeah, there you go.
from the other books you checked out, you find a little bit of information about like the economy nearby is mostly based on hunting and fishing, which makes sense given the proximity to the river. Although
I thought you said there was a big industry, like
yes,
machines.
So as far as trade, it's that, but the economy like within is like a big like metalcraft and machinery trade economy, and also a few renowned carpenters who work specifically with wood from the deadwood, which is of note because like hunters, they don't go to the deadwood, they don't hunt there. That's not a good idea. So like these carpenters are renowned for the quality of their work, but also because of the relative danger that they go through to
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
Okay.
Hey guys, I found an anecdote. There was a statue of one of the local lords out by a swamp, and folks would go to it and be like, and have visions, right? And so they thought that this was a lord giving them visions, and then it turned out it was just a swamp gas.
They were just getting high.
They were just getting high.
Can I inspire him to look for sea witches in the census?
No, if you were in the same place, maybe but
Oh, I can go back.
um,
I'm the kind of person that would probably keep finding them and checking in.
yeah. Public Works, you get a little bit about the recent war between Dane and Erebar has drawn some funding from the city. And that has meant that several projects that were started before the war were never finished. These include a few different buildings and a few different repairs to buildings that have caused some things to fall into a bit of disarray. You don't get too much in the way of specifics, just because you only rolled 5.
Yeah.
Booyah.
You got kind of tired as you were reading. You were like, "This is Jasnah's job." You kind of put it aside.
Nah, that's not how I do now.
No, but
This is the bad roll.
yeah. Two of you, as you're researching, go ahead and roll investigation checks for me. You can roll separately, or one of you can roll with advantage.
24.
I got a 19
Nice. So what specifically are you guys looking for? Are you looking for information about enchanted tattoos?
I'm looking for dual things. One, information about enchanted tattoos, but also anything with stones or something that seems like any way related to the things that Ixia was talking about.
Okay.
I'm looking on for how to enchant things in general because I'm trying to enchant my tattoo now.
Sure.
I'm really interested in trapping things in tattoos.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Ew, interesting.
This is like some kind of blood magic you're going for, isn't it?
So even with a 24, this isn't that kind of library. You don't find any blood magic.
Who do I have to kill to get to that kind of library?
We'll get there.
Also, before I start looking, I just have a gut feeling to turn on detect magic as a ritual.
Yeah, okay.
Probably should have checked out the library when you were saving him at the castle.
You do get a ping.
Oh, yeah. Wait, oh no, I got stuff from that library.
There is, it's like, it's like a few shelves over, you think,
do something very
but there is a little bit of a glow.
escape rope or dimension door.
I
that's
definitely
just
go check that out.
where the
Do you tell me to come with you? I can identify it if you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or do you just piece?
I just say, hang on, I'll be right back.
Okay. You walk over to find the source of it, and you see a hunched old man kind of leaning over a very large tome with these like thick bottle glasses on his eyes, like bending very close to the book. And on the table next, kind of leaning next to him, is his staff, and that is what is giving you the magical glow.
Oh, okay.
And he kind of looks up and, hello.
Sorry, I saw magic. I thought it was a book.
Oh, no, that would just be my staff.
What is it?
Well, it serves as the focus through which I cast my spells, and the stone itself has a little bit of a enchantment on it. It can cast the spell Magic Missile, if you've heard of it.
Yes. Have you any knowledge of soul stones?
I've heard the term before, yes. But as far as I know, none have created one in many years. Living memory, even.
Wow.
The only examples are extant ones found from before the scouring.
Interesting.
Wait, out of character. Hadn't Anixia created one herself?
She created something similar.
Okay, but she had not created a true soul stone. So even the okay, so she had work of hers leading towards the soul stone, but nothing that actually it's like a philosopher's stone type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not quite, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know that I'll kill an entire city of people to make a stone.
And the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood ending I was hoping for comes out.
Okay, I go back and say, oh, thank you for your time, and then I head back to Jasnah.
Good luck with your reading.
Thanks. Oh, actually, what book are you looking at?
He kind of closes it and like marks his page with a finger and kind of hefts it and turns it towards you. It's an old dusty volume with like this thick blue leather-bound cover, and in that cover in gold lettering is written a treatise on the nature of things.
Interesting. What is that about?
Oh, it's a treatise on the nature of things. Could you be more specific? I can, I'm sorry.
No, don't be more specific.
No.
He goes back to reading.
I use sending to tell Jasnah to come over.
It's a little bit less magical in nature than most of the tomes on this floor, but it deals with the physicality of things, the essence of them. how they work. It is quite an exhaustive treatise of many objects found in nature. It does not extend to man-made things, but it deals with the workings of trees, of rivers, how mountains are formed, a great deal of topics. I read it because I believe that understanding the world around us and the way its energy flows and ebbs will lead me to a greater understanding of how magic flows and ebbs.
So I'm, I guess, walking over at this time, and I'm really interested. I guess I pipe up because I hear the last of that, and I ask if is it like ley lines?
Ley lines are, in a way, related to the concept, yes. The energy that we find in nature is affected by the ley lines. The properties of rocks and mountainous terrain and trees and even animals is affected.
That's the other map you owe me, ley lines.
Mm-hmm. You should
I
message
forgot.
me. You should definitely ping me so I have a list.
Does it help inform your magic, reading things like this? You're a wizard?
I am. I think it does. It helps me, as unacademic as this may sound, it helps me feel the energy that flows around us. You get a better sense for it, I think. It's not particularly rigorous, but I suppose you could say it was a hobby of mine.
Is there a group of other like-minded magic users here like you that...
Oh, I'm
Study
afraid
that
there are very few around here. There are one or two others that frequent the library. They are, well, somewhat of a secluded bunch. Anything else I can help you with?
We're just traveling adventurers, a cleric and an artificer.
Did you make the enchantment on that stone yourself?
I did, yes.
Would you be able to teach me how to make enchantments in general?
I could. It does take some time.
Do you have any resource recommendations? Or?
Well, there's a very good starter book. It basically goes over the basics of enchantment, how objects are enchanted, and what materials can be
Does
used.
it happen to be that?
It's called Enchantment for Idiots.
Enchantment for the weak-minded, indeed. Yes.
It's totally my own concern.
Already Jasnah killing everyone in the city.
Hey, that was in my mind that I had that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that would be the book. That would be your best place to start. If you go through that and find yourself still wanting, the next place to look, I think, would be... Actually, let me tell you, because I have a note on this. Where are you? My notes. They are character specific.
Where?
How did you decide what stone to put in your magic missile staff?
I'll answer that in just a second.
Too greedy.
There are, in fact, a pair of books I might recommend after that one. U.S. Stone Cleavers, Channeling Magic with Objects.
You as stone cleaver?
U.S.
U.S.
E-W-Y-S-S.
E-W-Y?
S-S.
U.S. stone
Cleaver.
cleaver?
EYSS.
E-W-Y-S-S. Stone Cleaver.
Do you know if they have those in stock here?
I believe they do, yes.
Okay.
And ancient enchantments and what we learn from them.
Bless you.
Whose author is unfortunately unknown.
Ancient enchantments and...
What we learn from them.
I think my friend and I have quite the reading list now.
Very good. Best of luck.
Oh, and your
Thank you.
staff. How did you decide?
Yes. The stone here is a clear quartz. It has to be of very, very high quality. And that is because of its refractive properties. Magic missile is it's a very focused spell. It cannot miss if you cast it successfully. As such, a stone with the kind of refractive properties to focus the spell is ideal.
It has to do with the refractive properties. So if you were using a spell that depended on your enemy strength or something like that, you would use a stone that was more opaque?
Not necessarily. Not all enchantments have to do with refraction.
How do you know which ones do, though?
It is something of a trial and error method. The nature of the stone that will be best suited to a spell is a stone that reflects the properties of that spell. So perhaps a spell for a fire might be a stone that is particularly resilient to heat, or it might be a stone that shines a particular way in the firelight.
Does it have to be a stone? Could it be a bone?
You can enchant just about any object, but in order to channel magic through one, typically a stone is best simply because they are more receptive to it. The precise mechanism behind that is difficult, to say the least.
Where did you learn these things?
At the Luminaire Academy in Erevar.
Luminaire in Erevar?
Indeed. It is just outside the city of Limna, which is the capital city of the Lake Duchy.
You should go kidnap a professor there and force him to
That's
teach you.
exactly what I'm gonna do.
Oh my god.
No.
Yes, Christine, there are books in the world, that's what they would want to read.
Just outside what?
Limna, the capital city of the Lake Duchy.
I mean, if you give him like 5 gold, he'll probably tell you everything. You don't have to kidnap him. It's so easy.
Well, first I'm gonna offer him money, and if he says no, then I kidnap
You
him.
didn't say that at first. Thank you, Cranmor, for being a voice of
I
reason.
feel
It's
like
just
you
that
want
she-
to kidnap a professor.
She hopes they say no.
I'm worried
Here,
you have a kidnap.
I'll offer you 1 copper to tell me everything you know. No? Alright, you're coming with me.
You left me no choice.
My girlfriend has a bear.
I only have 9 million more of these.
And I have a flying donkey.
Got him on a tether.
Can you imagine like waking up and there's this like grinning rock gnome above you and a flying donkey and a spirit bear?
Like it makes his day blue.
You're going in my bed, pinching yourself like
The size of a.
And you're just like, tell me everything you know, bitch!
Get in the bag.
I mean, if a rock gnome on a flying donkey.
Impossible to understand.
1, Christine, can I get an update on volume? How, like that air, and like that moment specifically, how was that? And 2, she says major concern now.
Yeah.
You're just gonna drug him and go
Which I
wake
think
up in the
everyone
bag of
reflects.
holding and be like, where am I?
I think it's exciting.
It is exciting, but it's also concerning. It can be both.
Well,
Concern is a kind of excitement.
thank you so much for your knowledge. I think, Norwyn, why don't we go see if we can track down these 2 books?
I feel I should tip you for your
Oh, no.
generosity.
It is reward enough to help a fellow researcher.
You've been hanging around
Thank you.
Joel too long.
Very much.
Oh!
If ever the day comes where I can repay.
Wait, do you like
Oh, what do
crystals?
you know?
Do you have any use of crystals? I don't know. I have 72 of them.
You bragging?
I was gonna give him some crystals.
Oh.
He does rock magic.
I could perhaps use some, yes.
Okay,
Cool.
here you go. I hope that there's 5 5 of them.
Okay, you're giving them all 72. I don't need that many.
He's really hard. He like falls over trying to hold 72. Oh my god.
Still blows out some, but it's better than before. When you say blows out, is it capping or is it getting really loud? Because blowing out is better than getting really loud. I don't want to blow your ears out.
I was gonna eat it out of like taste and not actual hunger. So thank you.
So y'all find your things, you find your things. What do you two want to be doing?
Go ahead. Do you know what you want? No, go ahead. I'm looking for locked doors.
Locked doors where? Are you in the library still?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
probably on the magic floor. Oh, we're all in the library.
You don't have to be.
Make an investigation check for me.
That's not very good.
Oof.
Yeah, that's only a 7.
Oh, I thought it was a 1.
No, it's not a 1.
7.
Better than me.
Unfortunately, you don't find any as you're looking around. However, you're kind of feeling like, okay. You're walking back towards the table where you saw them stand, just as you hear another voice. Norwyn and Jasnah, actually, we'll say she was a tiefling, why not? The female tiefling librarian who went off with Cranmor comes up to the table, and she looks between the two of you and says, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I heard you were a religious man.
Yes, this is true.
Could I have a word with you in private?
Of course.
It's, just this way. And this very much piques your interest. So,
Why?
because you're looking for interesting things and you're walking over and suddenly,
Okay.
what is this? This is my mechanism for you failing forward rather than just failing.
I had strategies rather than failing.
Okay. So she brings you off to the side, and she takes you aside, and then Cranmor comes upstairs and takes her aside.
Wait, am I there?
Wait, really?
Am
Do
I
you want to
there?
take Cranmor
I
aside?
take Cranmor aside and I go, get this Cranmor, see witches. And then I say, do you want to go back to the census and look with me for them?
Yes. All right.
See
That
witches,
works.
see witches.
So she leans in and she says,
Also, I've got dried apple slices.
Nice. I take one.
Okay. It sounds like it's
Wait,
not a
where'd you get them
It sounds
from?
like they're getting like static feedback when it gets to the
Yeah. Blowing it out.
They came out of him.
It could be the letter or it could be the diaphragm.
Yeah, that's true, because it's a very small diaphragm. Yeah. All right, so
I have
in
a
general,
giant diaphragm.
that is a very small diaphragm.
I know.
In fact, so small that your giant diaphragm overwhelms it. So in general, we should try and be a little bit quieter, specifically when laughing, if that is doable for tonight.
So what you're saying is, Brian, can you please?
Yeah, Brian, shut the fuck up.
Yup.
So she takes you aside and she leans in and she says, there is a bit of a problem we've been dealing with. There seems to be a ghost of sorts in the southwestern wing of the library.
What kind of ghost? What you say of swords? What do you mean?
It makes things appear to anyone who sees it, horrifying things. We don't know how to get rid of it, and the religious presence in the city is somewhat lacking.
I see.
We can't really tell the general populace because they would create an uproar. But I saw your garb and thought, well, perhaps if you were a religious man, you could help.
I will look into it, yes.
And she beckons you over and goes to a door, which she then takes out a key ring and unlocks. And this is kind of see this going on, and you're like, oh, there's a door that you want to get into. And she kind of leads you a little ways inside, and you get to an intersection. And she comes to the intersection and gestures down the left hallway and says, whenever you're ready, it's down that way.
How long has it been in minutes?
Since
We left the table.
not long.
How?
2 or 3 minutes.
Okay. So I still have detect magic on.
Yep. You're not getting anything now, but you get that because she tells you it is about 100 or so feet down this hall, and then you'll come to a staircase that leads upward. This ghost is on the 3rd floor in something of it was once used as a study room. It's now been vacant for some weeks. We are telling folks because it's because of a renovation, but you know the truth.
Okay.
We do have a reward on offer if you can rid us of this thing. Just bring some proof to the front desk and we'll call it done.
Okay.
I have to be honest, it scares me a little, so I'll leave you to it. And she kind of hurriedly walks back past you and out the door. She actually she'll wait and say, gesture for you to come out.
Okay.
She locks the door and gives you the key.
Okay.
And then she fucks right out there.
Meanwhile, I'm exploring the hallway.
Okay, cool. Did you go down the one that she was gesturing to, or the right one? There was an intersection, left and right. She was saying the ghost was down the left hallway, and you're going
Oh, yeah, I went the right one first.
Away from the ghost.
do make a quick stealth check for me,
I'm invisible.
with advantage.
Greater invisibility.
I think it's still just advantage.
Okay.
Yeah, it's her passive perception, so it's not like...
That's 19.
Yeah.
No, 16.
Yeah, no problem. Just none the wiser. I don't think is your passive higher than 16?
No, it's 15.
So yeah, no one's any the wiser. You get down that hallway and kind of turn off to the right, and it's a couple of, there seems to be a few offices on this side, and then a little bit further down there's kind of a large door with a big glass pane in it, and through it you can see these kind of, they look like very old books within here, like kind of rare collections kind of.
Like, is it a really...
It's like the whole door.
door?
It's like the whole door.
It's just at the top. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to see that.
You're standing on your toes, and you can see these like dusty old books inside. So offices and or rare book stack.
Okay. I'm going to try the door.
Open.
All right. I am going to... I'm going to start looking at what these books are, just looking at the spines for the titles.
Yeah.
And
You
see
can't
if
read
they're...
any of them.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
So
Forgot to learn how to read.
looking at the spines on the title, right? The titles of the spines and the layout of the room. If there's any bookcases or anything or scotches or anything that stand out, anything that looks like it's a secret switch or anything. So
Okay.
both.
Make an investigation check for that one. The book titles will.
Yeah, same investigation check as before. So
7.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing as far as like secret passageways or anything. As you're looking at the books, it covers a pretty wide series of topics. It seems mostly the biggest thing in common that these books have is age. Most of them are tomes that are, they have a little note on the bottom that says like copied from the Royal Library of Dane. And they seem to be books that are about the founding of the country, the rule of the first several Darrens, and
Are we still in Dane?
Okay. And there's one book that kind of stands out to you as being about royal, like artifacts in the royal collection. And then on another shelf, you get a series of books that kind of goes more into like there's a few old military treatises. There's a few like books on just like natural phenomenon, like the geography in Dane and how it affects certain weather patterns. The Darren River itself and the Darren River Delta in the far east of the continent, and kind of the biomes there. A lot of like ecological surveys. Another section of books that has kind of more political logs, like house names and rulers and like minor lords and territories, etc. You get one book that's interesting there that kind of talks about the very edges of, like, the title, it has no title, so you kind of pull it down and read through the first few pages, and it seems to be talking about like the very borders of the country and the conflicts that have happened thereon. Flipping to the table of contents, you actually see there's a little bit of a note about the Deadwood, which you've heard the terms, what catches your interest.
All right, so I'm gonna pocket the one on the artifacts,
Okay.
on the weather patterns, anything about anything similar to that that's unexplained phenomena kind of thing.
Okay.
And the outer edges of the kingdom and what's known about the world beyond.
Okay. Since you mentioned unexplained phenomena, you do find a book that talks. Let me see if there's one. I think there is. Yeah. Sites of Bizarre Magnificence by Aequileia Sagestride.
Do you want to just send me the titles to those books later so I can ask you about them?
Let me mark them down for myself so that I remember to do that. I have paper.
It just might be quicker if,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they have names in them. You're like, how do you spell that?
How about, yeah. And that way I can refer back to it. Good. I gotta start bringing my notebook. Like all of you smarter people than you do. We're gonna find that witch.
And we're gonna befriend her, and then she's gonna teach us her magic. If she doesn't, we can't.
So you had weather and geography, the royal artifacts, the edges of the realm, the book I just mentioned by Aequileia. Any others?
Edges of the Realm. What was the first one again? Royal Artifacts, Edges of the Realm.
Weather and geography.
Weather and Geography, okay.
Is that all of them?
That's kind of what I was looking for, yeah.
Cool. Alrighty. I will get those titles to you.
Alright, I got those written down. And then I, just, I don't want to take too long focused here, but
We're going around. It's
then
fine.
kind of feel like I'm done with this room. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna take peeks in the other rooms on the way, then I'm gonna go down the other hallway, start taking some peeks, and then I'm gonna go up the stairs.
Okay. There is someone in one of the offices. The other two are empty. The empty ones kind of flank the one with the person. The one closest to the door you just came from, kind of plain. The person who uses it seems rather minimalist. There's like a couple pencils and pens or pens and quills on the desk, and a few leaflets of parchment.
Does it just seem like they're
Nothing more.
academic or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just move on. Okay. It's much the same down the other side of the hall until you get to the staircase. Anything new?
So she hasn't heard the fuzzy
Cool.
static thing.
So yeah, it's much the same down the other side of the hall. Nothing really of interest.
It's more like an academic kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
All right.
This seems to be kind of a wing for the staff and any researchers who are visiting.
Up the stairs.
Alrighty, and we'll get back to that in a moment.
Sounds great.
Wait, you're going up the stairs on the left side?
I'm going to approach the female tiefling.
So I go up to her.
How's it going, hot stuff?
I can read any language.
I wanted to ask her if they had any writings that they haven't been able to translate.
Oh.
That's how you pick up the women, huh?
Ooh.
Let me see.
Yeah, probably. That's not.
Now that you mention it, there was one. We got it a little while ago. It was a gift from the Luminaire Academy in Erevar. They had it for some time and
Go there.
also couldn't decipher it. They gave it to us in hopes that maybe one of our staff could, but alas, none of us could read it.
Would you want to show it to me?
Jesus! Do you say it like that? Make a persuasion check.
Is it any more of like the pizza man?
Extra runes.
Is your light watching? 17. Do you have any 17 you would like me to read for you?
She kind of, so she has like this, what do you call it, like sapphire skin, and so the blush that shows up in her cheeks is very obvious. She kind of flushes for a moment and goes, yes, if you think you can read it, that would be of a great help to us.
Alright, I'm starting to get uncomfortable with you guys.
She kind of turns, she kind of says, follow me.
Ooh.
Follow her. I bet you do.
That's right.
So, she leads you to kind of the main information, like the front desk in the library. There's a door to an office behind that she kind of opens up and goes through into, and she beckons for you to follow. She kind of goes over to what you assume is her desk. She seems very familiar with it. She kind of rummages around for a moment before opening a drawer, pulling out a few papers and then a book that is quite heavy, and she kind of plumps it on the table. It looks like it has been there in that desk drawer for quite a while. And she says, give it a try, I suppose. I'd be very interested to see. And she kind of like pulls a chair up and scoots the book over like 6 inches.
Okay, I'll take a little gander. Or you want to see what the...
Oh, I'm just
laying it out.
Hey.
Can I tell what language it's in, or?
So actually, your feet doesn't tell you the language.
I can just read it. I can just read it, right? Oh, but can I do like a religion check to see what, or not, maybe a history check to see?
Yeah, if you know what it is.
Yeah.
Sure. Make a history check.
Nice.
15.
15. Trying to think of. It's good music like this. You have.
Are we all just outside the door, like dancing?
Way back, 2 whole months ago, when you went into that first temple with Norwyn.
Oh, yes.
In the very bottom floor, there was writing on the walls that none of you could read, except Erden recognized one symbol. However, looking at this, you now recognize the script as being what was written all over those walls. You can't call it to mind clearly enough to like get a photographic memory of it and like retroactively read what was there.
Yeah.
But you know now that you could definitely read what was there if you were to go back. So you don't know the name of this language, but you have seen it before.
Yeah.
The book seems to be written by... Names are hard to remember.
Is it a sea witch?
Kick Rains.
No.
Sea witch. Sea witch.
It's also not a sea witch.
Oh.
What about a sea old lady?
It was written by a sea cucumber.
Yes! Can it be written by a sea cucumber?
No! They can't.
How do you know? Maybe they can in this movie.
I built the world.
I'm God, bitch.
If men can be librarians, sea cucumbers can write.
That is not how this works.
Good point. Good point, Jeff.
That's very enlightened.
No.
Very woke of you to say.
Yes. So the book was written by Algan Ulvar II. In what would this year be?
2.
Call it in year 582 of the Endless War.
Cool.
It says that it was written as a tribute to his father, Algan Ulvar. The content of the book is shocking, to say the least. You are reading it, and it seems to describe the exploits of a conqueror who crossed plains as easily as you might cross a river.
Okay.
And went to all of these different worlds and brought the power of his empire to them.
Kind of like Alexander the Great just went and swooped across the nation.
Yep. And it describes like conquest in like the plane of fire, the plane of water, the plane of earth, one of the like lower celestial planes.
Oh, across plains.
Yeah.
What did you think he said?
I thought he said nations. I don't know where I got that, but
Wait.
Like across
What are-
planes, not across the planes.
like
PLANES.
planes of reality, right?
How do planes of reality work?
You have no idea.
I'm definitely getting a lot more interested in this book.
None idea. Just zero. Yet.
I've been to a couple of them.
Kinda, yeah.
I've run across a plane. Wildflowers.
Not on purpose, I don't think.
But yeah, so you're reading about the conquest of Algan Ulvar I.
Yes.
And his spread of the Ulvari Empire across the plains. You also note a foe that seems to appear commonly. The tribes of the Eikunungr. I'll spell that. EIKONUNGR.
Holy shit. Start.
EIKONUNGR. Eikunungr.
Eikunungr.
Eikunungr too?
I can unger better than you can unger.
Cool.
Yeah.
Eikunungr. And Eikunungr was on this plane, or they were on a different plane?
They seemed to travel between them just as the Ulvari did.
Oh,
Wait,
they're
who
all
are the
they're all
Ulvari?
planeswalkers.
So
Ulvari training boon.
Algan Ulvar is...
Oh, okay.
So these are enemy planeswalkers.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, you guys are looking at like magical tomes and crap. And I'm like,
Wait,
hey,
is-
I know how many orcs live in this
This
city.
like the Ulvari training.
We should
boon?
map out the sewer system.
Is that the same Ulvar?
I may have started this interaction with trying to put it there, but it actually got me
It's called
interested in this.
Ulvari training boon.
Ulvar. ULVAR.
Oh, Ulvar.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm guessing is that a base rules thing? Like that's in the...
I don't know, I just saw it on D&D Beyond when I was looking
Oh.
at leveling up.
Just imagine you're like, lady, keep your hands off the equator. This is interesting.
How was it spelled? Is there something that I put on Homebrew that I didn't realize?
There might be. Let's
Yeah,
see.
was there like extra stuff added? I'm noticing some extra features.
Yes.
in
So
D&D
some
Beyond.
things
Yeah.
are...
It's like all lowercase and shit.
I was like looking through, I'm like, wait, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the... Why is that on...
I hope we found the ice
There.
cream consumption versus murder
That's
rate
very weird.
statistics for this place.
Yeah, it's not... Don't take that.
Okay.
The city is
More
the
children drown.
You have not
This
trained
person
with the
gives us
Ulvari. I'm guessing I probably did that as...
But I can't train with the Ulvari, apparently.
Jasnah, it says that this city is the largest per capita consumer of cream of wheat.
That's boring as hell.
It also says that this city is the largest consumer per capita of sea witches.
Yes!
They eat them.
Wait a minute.
It's seaweed. It's seaweed. Sorry.
Typo.
If it was the regular or if it was the chocolate flavored.
Good on the flavored.
If we throw water on a sea witch, does she turn into chocolate?
You know it.
Okay, so
Why are you trying to splash old ladies?
does it talk anything about how they're going?
I glance at all the old women in the library.
It doesn't in detail. It's written in a way that kind of assumes the reader will know about it.
Yeah, obviously.
It mentions, it like talks about portals,
Yeah.
but that's...
And this is 582 after the scouring, right?
No. It's year 582 of the Endless War.
Which is before the scouring.
You don't know.
Well,
So you could
You can
assume
guess.
so because it's written in a language that nobody in this world knows.
but it actually still exists, which would be confounding.
What does?
Like, a lot of the writings are gone from before the scouring.
Mm-hmm.
So, ooh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You ever tried to clean a mess after a house party and you miss a spot?
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away. But
What?
One part of the house that you're just like, yeah, this can stay the way it is. I don't want to get rid of it. Maybe somebody will find it useful in the future.
I was
That's
at a
more
house-
like what we're going
It's
for.
like the attic.
I was at a house party where we literally had a chocolate pudding fight.
Nice.
That was quite a cleanup.
That's sexy.
He could be that or hired help.
Was it tasty?
I have no idea.
He didn't.
I don't think you eat the chocolate pudding. That's not.
Yeah, then you're fighting it.
It was only for throwing and then mopping up when we were done.
Well, they
I
should
mean,
have
it
made
depends
it
on who you're
roast
fighting
flavor.
with. Yeah, I don't know who I want to like.
So,
Some of you here, I'd be okay with that. Some, okay, then yeah.
Only Bright though, not me.
Yeah. Ew. Girls. Cuties.
So, am I able to check this book out?
Check the library.
I would prefer you didn't keep it, but yes, you can.
Well, I can give it back. I can write up a summary of this book and bring it back in.
It's this big.
I hate to
It's a partial.
I hate to trouble you, but could you write a second copy and donate it to us? Well, no, donate is a strong word. We would pay you.
So how big is the book?
It's probably about.
Oh no, that's a lot of work.
700.
We're in Aequileia for 3
I can
months.
probably. I don't know how fast.
You're writing it by hand.
What's that, like a
And
couple of
writing.
weeks?
You want to get your...
What's your intelligence modifier?
Not that high.
What's your dex modifier?
+2.
+2. So you can read 120 words a minute.
Can I wait,
120 words a minute?
Can I help him by making like a quilt?
Sorry, not a minute.
What? It's like read it in 7 minutes.
Right.
7 minutes.
Words, not pages. Which is way
Oh,
slower.
yeah. So it's like probably
speaking speed
Yeah.
would be fast.
Words a minute. It's gonna take a long time for you to copy this book.
What is it? What is pages a word? Like 800 for like a normal book?
I'm trying to think. It's 800 pages.
Let's go
words
with
in a
that.
page.
Yeah.
That sounds.
So you could get about
decent. 500 to 1,000.
you'd get about 1,000 words a minute. Is your reading speed?
I would have to take it on my travels.
1,000
Send it back
words.
in. That's reading.
So a little over a page a minute.
Yeah. Like a page and a third a minute
Yeah.
is effectively what I'm going for. A little less than that.
So like 700.
Yeah, but that's reading, not
Yes.
writing.
Yeah.
Writing usually takes a whole lot longer than
Uh-huh.
reading. Because you're going to have to translate it in your head and into comments.
Right, but he is
Yeah.
summarizing.
So,
He's not
like,
writing it out as a
A
transcript.
good
Did we
9 hours
wait.
of solid reading.
Did we
Just to
invent
read
a
it.
printing press yet?
Oh, well then.
Okay.
There's kind of like there's kind of similar things, but there's not really a printing press.
But I can get
If they're
the
words.
What did we use for our pamphlets?
Print on the Google.
The guy,
The only reason it was good.
Did we pay someone to make them?
yeah, there was a guy. So basically,
Yeah.
the guy in the post office has like a set of letter stamps, but it's not fast enough to be like a press. So he can like arrange them and like stamp
Sounds like
things
you
out.
have your next
It would take
invention.
even longer to press out this book than it would be to write it.
Better
Yeah.
than wings. Really.
I
Can you
mean-
fly?
Yes.
Let's remember that
In your mind.
book presses are
You'll see.
only for volume, not the time it takes to write it the first time.
Right.
Right, but what I was thinking was, this
So if we
isn't.
want to make
We're
Yeah.
trying to mass. We're not trying to mass produce it. We're trying to.
Yeah, well, because before we were trying to
Maybe
come
She
up
wanted to
with
make a massive investment up front to save time later.
Good call. Good call. You know what you need to do?
Huh.
Do the Cliff's Notes version.
Yeah.
No, I think prematurely optimized, translate the whole book outright.
I could take this book on my travels, make a contract, and then I could send it back, or bring it back.
Bringing it back, I think, would be safer. Do you have a good way to carry it about with you? If you're traveling, I wouldn't want it to get damaged. Jinx.
Well, maybe we can discuss details over an ale at the inn I'm staying at.
Oh, Jesus.
I'd love to. Where are you staying?
We're staying at the Dancing Dragon.
Oh. I do
Good
like
job,
their ale.
wingman.
They have a very nice wine, too. I'd love to show it to you sometime.
Excellent. Today.
I'd love to show you my wine.
Tonight?
Tonight.
Excellent. I'll see you
My wine bottle.
She's a chick, I'm not gonna stab her.
I thought you didn't think
She's a.
men could be librarians.
Yeah, she's a she.
Yeah, I know.
Why would I stab her?
Because you said you wanted to get a librarian, but you assumed that they were already women.
But
Like, I
now,
want to get.
but now Morthos is turning into a librarian. What are you gonna do about that?
Morthos is my bro, I'm not gonna hurt him.
Okay.
We've all turned into librarians. Look at us at these books. By the way, do you find a salty old lady yet in any of this stuff?
I start throwing.
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
I think I started throwing shit.
I'm looking for a sea witch. Investigating?
Sure.
Anything like?
Aww.
Ah.
Does she get any
10.
advantage? If, oh.
10.
Oh crap.
Wait, Cranmor's helping me. Can I have an advantage?
You all rolled separately for kind of the same thing.
I didn't roll for anything about sea witches. I was rolling.
You
for
rolled
history of
investigation on that section, which is the same section that you'd be looking
blood.
at.
Okay. Wasn't looking for that.
Man.
So what persuasion check?
I go around and I start drip. Wait. Ooh.
Persuasion,
Yeah,
22.
sure, you can have advantage.
Wait, I do?
Yeah, on your investigation check.
21.
Okay. You actually do find a
sea witch?
legend of a sea witch from the town's history.
Are there any old crones sitting around?
Old crone!
I'm 27.
I'm calling my wife Old Crone.
There's that guy who was at the table.
I'm not a crone.
Is he a sea witch? I'm not a crone.
So what you found
Gender assume witches.
is about.
What's with you?
You're right. You're right. I'm being really
Wait,
exclusionary.
no. Witch is a gendered term.
Yeah.
No!
Witch
Witch!
is-
There can be male witches.
They're
It's
king warlocks.
No, they're witches.
That's true.
No,
They're
your
warlocks.
weird American horror story is not like world canon. That's not a thing.
Yeah, neither are warlocks.
You're right.
I believe in male witches.
But in like the
Wait, do you believe
actual
in regular witches too?
in the mythology that exists in our world, witches are female. That's just
In your
Okay, wait.
in
world,
our world. In like the
because in
Or as
Wicca,
your-
you can be
As
a
Jasnah.
male.
Okay. Okay.
Is that traditional Wicca or is that like a newer thing? Because I did not think that was the case.
It's traditional.
I'm just throwing-
No,
I'm making shit up.
Traditional Wicca, yes.
There
you
can
be a male witch.
you can be a male witch.
But
Yes.
I have a different question about within
Because they are
D&D.
warlocks.
There's warlocks, which is male or female warlocks. Okay,
Yeah.
which is the fact you're
That is a
making.
good point.
Okay, so then how does a witch fit into that? Is that a separate thing? Is that the same
It's
class?
gotta be.
Is this some kind of sexist nonsense where it's like you can only be a female witch, but you can be male
Or is this a
female warlock?
sorceress, or just a cantankerous person?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is witch a personality?
Yeah, is witch really hag?
Or is it like
So
you?
hag is a very distinct and very like specific
Yeah,
thing.
that's a monster.
Yeah.
Hey, you know
Also,
what?
I would argue that witch is exactly like Like, I feel like you can use queen to be male or female if it's like Yas queen.
No, you can't.
Yes,
Or
you
if it's
can.
You
like a rock
absolutely
band.
can't. It's
Yes!
not like bra.
It is like bra.
No, it's not.
So sea
Queen
witches,
is definitely gender.
sea witches have to be female.
You can only entire LGBT community would like to argue with you about
Sorry,
queens being
let me
gendered.
specify. Queens have to be female identifying.
That's not true either.
I think it is.
Feminine
It's totally not.
I think it is.
Do I see a sea witch or not?
Well, okay, female identifying or acting in a respect that is deliberately perceived feminine. How about that?
No,
Okay, that one.
I think it has to do
Because
with
you're going with drag queens, right? So sure.
Well,
no, because okay, I went bowling once and we were using Yas queen
Only once.
as a
Sorry.
as a cheer
So
to show camaraderie.
your interwebs does not an academic consensus make, and that's bullshit. So wrong.
I
Hey,
think
you know
these are
what?
some very large.
Here's a great idea. Let's play D&D.
You guys gotta yes. So Norwyn and Cranmor are saying these are very weighty subjects. You're not going to be resolved in this special
Anyway, so what do we find on
But
the sea
there
witch?
may or may not be a lady who can animate her tattoos.
Yes, what do we find on the sea witch?
Add permitted term.
Which one am I wrong about?
Oh no!
I cannot
Oh
even
no!
talk
See,
like this.
what have we done?
Oh yeah, it doesn't have a.
I just wanted to throw water on old women.
What I was saying is
No, you don't. You want to understand the magic they're using and also water on them.
Exactly.
About Quinn being gender neutral? No, I don't accept it. I do not accept
What do
it.
I find about sea witches? What do I find about sea witches?
Nothing.
No, you just told me we found a book.
You did. You found it. It said that sea witches fucking suck.
Wait, where do they suck? Can we?
What do they suck?
Because if we can find one
Do they suck
with tattoos. For a tattooed
Whoa, what was that?
person.
That depends on their sexual identity, which is completely different.
I want to know. Wait, do we find where the sea witches are, or anything about the sea witches?
No. What you find out is that there was a legend about a sea witch who would kidnap sailors who were too
Is it the Lord book?
brazen about sailing at night.
That sounds like somebody we want to meet.
I love stories.
Does she glow?
We all glow.
The only account of a survivor of one of the sea witch's raids does claim that she had a frightening glowing countenance.
Yes! Cranmor, we need to go sail at night and find this woman.
I love it.
What?
It's just so much. This is totally off where we're supposed to be.
No, that's fine. I do not mind. Like,
We're gonna turn the next 3 months into hunting for the sea witch.
Holy Garrick, we're here.
hey, you guys just lost your witcher.
Yeah, that was perfect. Okay.
All right, static again. So we got too loud.
We'll put a pin in that.
Into the sea witch, or?
No, we want to befriend her.
What? That was a quick turnaround.
Who are you trying to fool?
Whose side are you on?
Wait, I have no ill will against the sea witch. She's a badass bitch. I want to know how she enchants her tattoos. Why would I kidnap her? I'm gonna kidnap some stodgy old dude to teach
You
me
keep
about
talking
stones.
about moistening her with a pail of water.
That was just a lot.
That's just a warm up.
I just wanted to throw water at the women in this library. That had nothing to do with the
As
sea
long as it
witch.
doesn't get the books and they're okay with it, I guess.
Anyway.
It's a strange custom. Maybe this is an old thing.
We throw water upon our friends.
I've heard about this after athletic combat.
But are you down to later track the sea witch and befriend her?
That sounds like fun. I like meeting people.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So Morthos has a date tonight with a librarian. Jasnah and Cranmor are hunting sea witches later.
Yes, we're not hunting her. We're befriending her.
Just finding sea witches later. Farkin is upstairs in the ghosts territory. Norwyn is
Looking for information about ghosts as
Okay.
they are described to me.
make an investigation check.
Ooh. 10.
You find a few books. They mostly kind of talk about things that you kind of intuitively, just from your experience in the world, have come to believe about ghosts. They're typically attached to either places or objects, sometimes specific people. They tend to kind of act irrationally to an extent, and there's always this idea of some sort of unfinished business. Something that is keeping them there because it is an emotional attachment that they feel a lack of catharsis about.
Okay.
They can often manifest in evil ways, but they're not inherently evil creatures, because it's not necessarily by choice that they're doing things that people might consider evil. They're just acting the only way they know how.
Maybe someone owes a fine on their new book.
I go and find a librarian and ask if they have any other books on ghosts.
Maybe you should get information on this particular ghost.
Actually, the
We're
librarian
done
you
with
asked is
which
going
thing,
to
so-
say, are you,
Yes.
investigating? Actually, yeah, screw you. Well, let me tell you.
Like, what? Did he say that to me?
No, another male librarian.
Jasnah rides from behind a stack of books with a dagger.
Wait, really?
Yes.
I wait and just miss grabbing you.
Oh no.
Unless you
Wait, do you actually do this?
Yeah, but I don't actually hurt him. I just intimidate him.
Oh yeah, well I'm like oh wait, I gotta roll a dex check.
I rolled a dex check and it was like a 5. Can you beat?
I got an 11 from my dex check to.
You managed to put yourself between the two of them.
Wait, you shouldn't roll anything though, so she might roll less than a 5.
Yeah, I might. Should I make a dex check?
Sure. You're really trying to get around them and stab this guy.
Oh, I don't really want to stab him. I just want to
because
intimidate
I
him.
was taking the fact that you were just intimidating him, that you could pretty easily get between them. Like, she's not trying to get around you, stabbing you.
I don't know this.
Well, it depends on how intimidating she's trying to be. There's a whole big difference between me attempting to stab you from saying I'm going to stab you from back here and having the knife that you're
Yeah,
We can just say it's not really happening and try to figure out what's going on with the ghost.
No, it's definitely happening. Roll a dex check.
Yeah, it's definitely happening at this point. She's already
We've
committed.
passed this.
15 or 14.
Yeah.
Alright, so you don't manage to, like, stop her, but are you stabbing him?
No!
Okay.
I'm just intimidating him.
How close are you?
I'm really close.
Okay.
And then I pat his head. And I say, you're doing good work, but you're not a
He
librarian.
throws you.
Well, hold on a second. I want to, like, so I'm thinking, if she's charging at him with momentum,
So when
she's
she
planning on-
stops
I'm
to
also-
say
I'm also
you're not a
thinking with Tom.
librarian, he throws her.
no, I was thinking more along the lines of if Norwyn's stepping in front, she's not planning for him coming.
Yeah.
The knife was going to stop over here. He's here.
Nah, she's not
Wait,
going so far
I
as
just
to swing
stabbed
the knife.
Norwyn!
It did not sound like she was going so far as to swing the knife.
I'd be a little upset.
Anyway, he throws you.
I don't picture her doing this. I picture her out with the knife just happening to be in her hand, being like, you're not a librarian. She's not just kidding.
She said she was trying to intimidate him.
Yeah.
But not stab.
But intimidate. So you're not like casually like you're like So he throws you.
Okay.
You get launched backward through the air about 7 feet, and he says, "Get out of my library."
Okay.
I go with Jasnah and let's go find
I pocket the books that I have.
Okay.
In front of the librarian.
The doors are magically locked.
Ooh.
Jasnah, you should like.
Put them down.
Do I know that you have? Is it how well hidden are they?
I don't know how well hidden are they.
Did you try to do it stealthily?
You didn't say you did.
I put them in the bag of holding. I just chuck them
so
in.
I won't know that they're there.
Put them back.
Is this preservation of
What kind is he?
I'm gonna roll persuasion. persuasion on you to put whatever back. I don't know what this is about, but 20.
I say whatever, and I give him the books back and walk out.
The door's unlocked.
Okay. I'm gonna head out. I'm looking for the sea witch.
All right. This legend you've read about once.
and was informed of by a very trustworthy pirate.
Look at these tattoos. That's good.
Look at that. It's good tattoos. That doesn't mean that he like
This guy
he
was-
just claimed that it was rumored.
This guy was sober at 10:30 a.m. on a weekday. So I trust him.
Yeah, you guys gonna be jealous when I have my new best friend, the sea witch.
Because we were with him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he wasn't sober by the time he was done getting.
Oh, fuck. Well, I got mine first, so.
They got better.
Maybe that's the funny thing.
That's why
The ghost is the sea witch.
All right. Speaking of ghosts,
You can be.
Perfect. As you ascend the staircase to this third floor,
I'm still greatly invisible.
okay.
Did you guys investigate where this ghost came from?
I started to.
Some investigation.
Then you got in the way.
The librarian was just
Like,
staring at you.
she gave you a key and then walked away because of her.
I was like really fucking confused by that, but I am not trying to claim any affiliation with you right now.
Well, I just set those books down. You should pick them up.
I don't know.
We're not going to tell them
happening.
that.
I'm not going anywhere near those books.
And most libraries have signs that say, please do not replace on the shelves.
Oh wait, sorry. There was something I wanted to finish with. I was in the middle of something before
Well,
that
of course,
happened.
you always want to make sure
Sorry.
you finish with Brian.
Yeah, I know.
He
get it.
tries.
I'm glad
He
you
doesn't always remember, but
A little passive.
I don't know how that works.
you fall asleep on me, you bastard.
Oh yeah, that would do it, wouldn't it? At least it's on you. That's
Okay.
cute.
I guess.
All right, so let me tell you.
I think you're missing your watch.
I swear, the second time I saw it, it looked just like the portrait on that wall. And he points, and it is a picture of the first head librarian of the building. It's this kind of because it's a ghost, it's this kind of severe looking older tiefling man with this very chiseled jawline and these gaunt cheekbones, and he's sitting in this very prim and proper pose, just looking down, staring at whoever would look back at the portrait.
Okay.
Wow. Really have a thing for male librarians.
Is his name Mr. Darcy?
No, it's not.
It should be.
No, it's Dorian Gray.
Whoa.
Nice. Wow.
This picture looks so good.
Interesting.
The portrait is immaculate.
Do you happen to know how long ago that man lived and how he died?
Yes, he died 9 or 10 years ago, I believe. Quite old for a tiefling himself. He was 107. Now, the manner of his death was something of a mystery, but most folk believe, as he was found dead at his desk one morning in the library, most folk believe that he had a heart attack in the night.
And you don't? What do the others believe?
Well, if you, let me put it this way. If you ask his wife, that's exactly what happened. But if you ask the person who found him, there was a knife wound in his chest.
Interesting. When did this ghost problem start?
About a year or so ago, I guess.
Did anything else happen around that time that you might feel is significant? Nah.
Nope, just stick it.
There we go. Now that you mention it, his wife passed away that time last year.
I think I'm beginning to understand. Do you know where his wife is buried?
I didn't go to the funeral, but I would assume that it was in the same graveyard as most of the other folks. There's a cemetery just outside the city. There's relatively few religious folks in town, so burial rites are scant, but folks are still given a real burial.
I forget, is that something I can actually perform?
It is. Just, it's not like a power, it's just you're a cleric, you can do that kind of thing.
Good.
By the power invested in you.
I bury your rights.
Yep. Right up to the hill.
All good. It's all the messages. Just checking. So, Parkin.
Matt?
I go back towards the.
Okay, you'll get there a few minutes after he's kind of starting to do his thing. So, as you have ascended the staircase, you find yourself a kind of a door at the very top of it. It is locked.
I know.
The sound kind of. Hey, man, Emily.
Holly?
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying
Emily left the door open so Holly can get out. Holly!
Holly!
Good girl. Come on. Come on.
Good girl. She's like, you tricked me again, you rat bastard!
I don't think Holly knows those naughty words.
I don't think so either.
She's so nice. Alright, so you ascend the staircase and you knock on the door. The sound you hear kind of echo in the chamber beyond. There's no response. But you feel a chill run down your spine and the hairs on your arms stand on end.
Okay. This feels like a time for something wild. I'm going to pull out
The stone.
shiny stone,
Yeah.
and I'm going to pet it a little bit because I don't understand what the hell this thing is. And it says, please help me get on the other side of that door. And I wrote it really fast. So I don't do anything.
Okay.
But, and now I just roll.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's see what happens. You may either come running or not. I don't know. I don't know yet.
Let's see what the result is.
You guys gotta ruin my day.
79.
Cool.
Or maybe make it better.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Illusory butterflies and flower petals flutter in the air within 10 feet of you for the next minute.
I thought it was gonna be like, suddenly in front of you is a rooster and a brick.
That could
And a what?
And a brick.
So you're like being a wingman.
For Morthos has now been cockblocked.
Butterflies and what?
Flower petals.
Flower petals? Okay. So this beautiful array begins to float around you in the air. And at first you're like,
block? I didn't understand the block at first.
what the fuck, man? At this stone, but they actually reveal something to you.
Okay.
On the wall to your right, kind of in keeping with the decor, there are kind of portraits all along these walls. Not all of them are, I shouldn't say portraits, paintings. Some of them are pastoral, some of them are, various, like, still lifes, etc. Some of them are portraits. The one to your right is an illusion, which you can tell as one of your butterflies kind of passes through it and you can see it flicker. for a moment. It kind of fades and then comes back.
Woo! I go that way.
Okay. You kind of feel up into it, and you can. It's a passageway. It's small, which is good. So you kind of clamber your way up and hoist yourself into this small little crawl space, and you can kind of begin to crawl through and maneuver around, and you get past the painting, and you can see it's this. It's almost like it was at one point probably a dumbwaiter of some kind, but it's been kind of hollowed out into a passageway. And you follow it, and it kind of curves around to the left, kind of in the direction of the room you were attempting to get into.
Awesome.
And it leads out behind another. You can kind of see through it, but you can see that there's like this illusory portrait in front of you again. And you can kind of tell just even with the mirrored view, it's the same one. Like they're linked on the same side, the same portrait.
Okay.
You can kind of crawl through there and get the view of the room before you. It is this just enormous study room. It's kind of two-tiered. There's kind of a lower, almost like amphitheater kind of area that's surrounded by the higher tier on three of the four sides. Where you are right now is kind of a flat wall that both kind of meet. So it's like it's three sides of the square are on the higher tier, and then there's the square in the middle that is the lower tier.
Okay.
On the higher tier, it's kind of lined with shelves of books and also like ladders that kind of go up to the top shelves of the books. Every few feet, you can see kind of a collection of torches that would be used for like reading lights and like candles. On the lower section, it's mostly just an open floor. You get the sense that maybe it was like a discussion area where people might bring chairs down and like sit and talk or something like that. But it's not. It doesn't have any furniture. It's kind of bare. That's all that really greets your eyes initially.
Okay. Do I still feel cold?
A little bit. The sensation is kind of faded a bit, but you still feel a little on edge.
Okay. I'm gonna poke my head out, look both ways, and hop
To
down.
be clear.
Cross the picture.
Yep, and cross the picture.
You pull yourself out of the portrait and drop down to the floor below. Only a couple of feet, no big deal. You kind of land with a soft thud. And you look around, and it's like eerily quiet. You start to notice like there's no sound here. Like it's.
Hello, Mr. Ghost.
You say to break the silence, you call out, and it's almost like your voice is swallowed by the air in the room.
Do I
Doesn't
hear it?
You do, but faintly.
Okay.
And a book clatters to the floor.
Oh, cool. Thanks. I go and pick up the book.
Okay. You open it. The first page is blank. Second page, blank. Third one, you see a slight blot of ink on it. You keep flipping, and that blot of ink begins to kind of twist and turn throughout the page, and it begins forming letters and words. And eventually, as you're flipping through, the ink turns the color of dried blood. And at the very end of the book, you can see the full message before you, and it says, "Find her." And the book snaps shut and bursts into flame in your hand. It's not hot.
Ooh. Okay. I wonder if Azareth would know what this is.
Passive perception?
My passive is 15.
Okay. You do hear a slight thud from above.
I asked that head librarian's name, right?
No?
Okay.
I didn't give you one, and I think I would have
did
if you'd asked.
Did it say it under the picture or anything?
Yes, if you went up to investigate the picture, you would see the head librarian's name was something that I'm going to come up with off the top of my head right now as we speak, and it is Clarius Morninglight.
Okay, when I get into I go up into the staircase and the stuff and follow all the places with the key and...
So you head up and you get to the first door, unlock it with the key, and kind of head down the left hall, and you're walking this hallway, and you see the portraits along the side, and then the next kind of bit of staircase that goes up and a locked door.
Put the key in the door.
Okay, we'll get there in a second because that would have taken longer than what comes next.
Would it have been a minute?
Yes, approximately.
All right. So you might have just, because that butterflies and petals would have been fluttering around for a minute. I don't know, just to throw it out there. Like,
Sure,
they would have
yeah.
been doing
As you round the corner, you see them fade. You just see these like flower petals and butterflies just fade to nothing.
Huh. Yeah, I try to get in there quickly.
Okay, so we'll wrap up a little. We'll do a little bit more with you because there's some time in between. As the book bursts into flame, you kind of consider it for a moment, and eventually it kind of lifts itself up out of your grasp and puts itself back on the shelf. And as you look up, there's a face on the ceiling, kind of like pushing out from the plaster, and it is this just agonized, screaming visage that's there for like half a second before it just disappears.
Ooh. You're mad.
Is it the head librarian?
You didn't see the portrait.
I didn't see the portrait. Ooh. I look around at the other books.
Okay. They seem run-of-the-mill, what you might find in a room like this. Most of them are, a few are arcane in nature, but most are just typical areas of study.
Dried blood anywhere else in the room?
Make an investigation check.
Not a 7. Not a 7. It's not a 7.
Ooh. Was it lower?
It's much lower.
Oh.
But that's a good thing.
Lucky! Lucky!
So it's an 11.
Do you want a different die? You're not rolling very well tonight.
No. Now it's a 14.
Okay.
I can do that again if you'd like.
That's fine. With 14, you don't find any notes of dried blood around the room, but you do find a few other things as you're looking. You kind of like traverse and go through a couple of the desks and kind of look around, and you see. You get on one of them that's kind of close to the right edge of the back right corner of the room from where you entered.
So on the lower level?
Higher level.
Oh, it is. Okay. Okay.
You see kind of a latch on one of the desks, and you kind of pull it, and one of the shelves kind of moves to the side, like just ever so much to reveal kind of like a handhold for a door handle.
Awesome. Just in time for. So I'm gonna walk through it.
Yep. So Norwyn clicks the latch on the key, opens the door. Just as he sees, what you see is do you have a cloak?
It's.
He's invisible. Isn't he invisible?
Yeah.
Are you still invisible?
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see a door.
Well. No, it's been more than a minute then if the butterfly has disappeared.
Yeah. So is your invisibility an hour? Or is it
No, it's just a minute.
Oh, okay. Do you have a cloak on? I feel like you would because it's winter. But
Sure.
Okay. You see the just the tail end of a cloak kind of, and then a door close.
As I see the door closing, I yell out, "Clarius!" That's his name, right?
Mm-hmm. No response. You hear a voice. Well, no response from the ghost. You hear Clarius
in my voice.
In Norwyn's voice.
Shiny!
I was trying to think, do I know him as Rashido or Farkin? I can't remember.
Rashido.
I run up to the door.
Are you? What?
The handle mechanism has disappeared after the door shut behind him.
I'm cast dancing lights to look around.
Okay.
Where are you?
You are in an unlit until you cast dancing lights study. It's a rather small office, very cozy, and in fact it has its own little fireplace. The desk is this very rich, very like deep red wood, and it's just this it's even though it's probably been sitting unused for quite a while, no dust. It's pristine.
I try to. What is the?
Dust is like 90% dead skin, and there's been no one in there, so there'd be no dust. Just.
What does the door look like? Is it just like a bookcase? Or
It is a hidden doorway inside of a bookcase.
Oh yeah, I try to like pull on the shelves and stuff, and like manhandle the shit out of it.
Okay.
Stop trying to read it.
Make a strength check, and you hear just clattering in the books.
Don't read it. You're gonna piss off the logos.
16.
Okay, yeah. You don't get the door open, but you definitely like pull a few books off of the shelf, and as they clatter to the ground around you, you don't notice at first because you're just trying to get in, but you find and you look down, and the books have arranged themselves in a circle around you, and each one is just flat open to a single page, and has one letter just written in like very heavy, dark red ink. Find her.
Your wife.
No, I'm not married. What are you talking about?
You hear just this.
I told you were gonna
She
piss off the
killed you.
ghost. No, what are you who?
And the books slap shut and fly back onto the shelf, and it just thuds back against the wall.
No, are you okay? Did you
I'm fine. I'm fine. It's the ghost.
Yeah, he's in the wall.
He's in the wall.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
he's in the wall. His face is in the wall. What do you
Oh,
understand?
okay.
Does a 27 hit your armor class?
Yes. No.
Not the library.
Yeah. I get extra. I worship Agma, so the library gives me
53.
gives me double armor class.
You take 8 points of slashing damage and 9 points of cold.
Wow. So 17 total. you said?
17 total.
So this head librarian had a sword that he had at the library?
No.
Letter openers.
As you feel these claws just rake through your back, and you turn, and you see just this ghastly visage of this enraged tiefling man, who just his face is like this twisted mask of agony and anger, and it fades as suddenly as you can see it.
I reach after it and try to touch it, but I'm not able to.
Make a dex check.
We're hard to look when we're alive.
Okay, yeah. When you pass your hand through the space where it was, it's just freezing cold. And you didn't notice until then, but your hand is covered in a cold sweat. And there are now little ice crystals across your hand where you're sweating.
Good order.
Does it hurt?
A little bit, but it's not terrible. You don't take any more actual damage from it.
What's going on out there?
He appeared.
Again, I told you he was in the wall.
He wasn't in the wall this
Because you
time.
pissed him off. I told you not to shake the shelf.
Rashido, did you get me in there?
And check the desk. There's a locked drawer.
Okay, I checked the desk for a locked drawer.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Yeah, move on it.
Is it with advantage? Oh, that's cocked.
Yeah, actually with advantage, because he's
Oh,
I got a
Telling him exactly where
fuck
it's at.
ton. 23.
Cool, yeah. Yeah, with you telling him it's a DC 5, it's so crit fail. Yeah, so you hear the as the handle shifts back, and you can kind of get the handhold and open it.
Cool.
You are now in the study with Rashido.
Jeez, what is with you toes?
And we're going to break that scene for a second. So, Jasnah. As you are...
Wait, I'm on a boat. It's the middle of the night. Cranmor's with me.
I did go with him.
And it's going fast, and I've got a nautical.
Is there a mermaid?
I'm on a boat.
Actually, I guess I
Is
should
T-Pain
ask.
with us?
It is 9:36. Do we want to keep going?
I could go until 10, but I can't go later than 10.
I'm probably at about my limit.
I think this can be a good place to wrap up.
Okay.
I want to deal one more thing with Jasnah, and you'll be there as well.
Okay.
But I think it's probably not a good place to call it.
I want to find a boat.
Date.
You're not on the boat yet.
Not on a boat yet. Stop it.
So you get kicked out of the library at like 2 p.m. or so. You're feeling a bit peckish. Yeah, maybe I'll go for lunch.
Yeah, and I have like 7 hours before it's dark and we're gonna be on a boat.
Yeah, you got a
I'm
while.
not stealing a boat.
You have a while before that happens, so it hasn't happened yet. You're kind of walking through town, looking for a place to munch on some lunch, and
Ooh, do we see him at like one of the factories?
new. Well, yes, but new. You see plenty of the factories as you're walking about, but a kind of unassuming human man, unassuming except that he's human in a rather not human town.
I thought you said it was 35% human.
No, 35% half orc and maybe it was
35%.
You did
human.
say human.
Yeah, human. Sorry.
Human and half orc.
Yep, that's right. I'm crazy. Yeah, so not that weird.
He's still human?
Human man. Walk up to you and just like he kind of pretends to drop something right next to you, and he kind of, oh, sorry, and he bends over in front of you, comes up and says, "Are you Jasnah?" As he puts the dropped thing back in his pocket.
I say yes, and who are you?
My name is not important. What is important is that I have a letter for you.
Ah, who's it from?
Procures a piece of parchment from his bag that is sealed in an envelope, hands it to you and says, "Your apprentice."
Ooh, it's from Liliana.
And another, which is why I'm delivering this and not a normal person. He pulls out a
knife.
Small, not the Thieves Guild, it's okay. He pulls out a small ring.
Ooh, from Liliana?
And no.
No?
He takes it kind of so that it's not moving on its axial axis and kind of twists. So that like part of there's like an inner ring that moves. And as it does, there's writing that begins to appear around the ring of it. And he hands it to you and says, speak the words you read and you will discover the message.
Okay.
And he walks away.
Can I speak the words on it, or is it not obvious?
It is in Gnomish, and it says, and it just says open.
I say open in Gnomish. Does it open?
No, it doesn't say open. Sorry. That was silly. That was just me being a dick. It says, "Fuck you, there's male librarians."
I throw it on the ground.
No, it says, by order of the Luminaire Academy.
By order of the Luminaire Academy, I repeat.
It kind of begins to speak in a very low tone, so only you can hear it. But what it says is, Miss Jasnah Barrow, we have heard something of your exploits from a contact of ours who recently visited your shop in Allerton. Your apprentice is quite skilled, and so we can only assume, based on what she has been able to accomplish and how she speaks so highly of you, that you are an artificer of some caliber. We would like to offer you a position. Arcane Field Researcher of the Luminaire's Academy. If you accept, please come to visit us at your earliest convenience.
Excellent.
And there is actually a signature. And I will tell you what the signature be.
Why is it gnomish?
Because I know you're a gnome.
It's not from my brother, is it?
No.
Okay, good.
Your brother has no association with the Luminary
I
Academy.
don't know, there's two of them.
Yeah, but he could be faking
He's
around.
worse.
He could be, but I wouldn't tell her that if it were.
Right.
I don't talk about him much.
Where am I?
Who is this dick you speak of?
My brother, he's an asshole. He works for the King of Dane, which I haven't mentioned to you guys yet.
That's funny.
Crud. I don't have I'll just put it written down, do I?
I'm the stable side of the family.
That's good.
I could have swore I had this written down, but I don't.
So what you're saying is that it could have been worse.
Yeah. Oh.
I feel like Morthos is the only one I can trust. That's just what you see is what you get.
Yeah, sorry, I'll tell you what the salutation is next time. I don't have a name for him.
Okay.
And I don't want to make this one on the spot because it's
Okay.
important.
And so, like, the Luminary Academy, is it near the capital city that's on the eastern
No.
side?
No.
It is further north. It's actually very near where he's from.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're
I
with
know
me,
it.
so when I see this, you know where it is.
Uh-huh. I don't know the academy, but I know the city.
Okay.
All right, well, I think that'll be just about it for tonight.
You
So thank
don't
you,
know the
everybody, for
academy.
joining us.
Are we doing XP now or?
I'll do it after the stream ends. So, thank you everybody for joining us. This has been Beyond D&D, and may all your rolls be lucky.